All right, at this time, I'm going to call to order the rescheduled meeting of the Conservation Commission for October 7th. We were not able to have our meeting due to a power outage in the middle of Carver, including Town Hall. So we're going to follow the agenda that we had for October 7th first, and when we complete this agenda, we're going to move on to the agenda for items that are on the docket for October 21st. So, first order of business on the agenda is appointments, discussions. Joanna Layton, Joan Pierce, Recreation Lot, and they have told the conservation agent that they will not be here this evening. So, moving on. First of all, I want to welcome Peg Blackwell back to CONCOM. Peg was the former recording secretary for the Conservation Commission and was a member until town meeting passed an article which disallowed town employees from being on committees. Actually, when Peg was forced to step down, she suggested to me that I apply for her open position, which I did, and that's why I'm here today. So welcome back, Peg, and thank you.
Nice to serve with you.
The first item on the agenda, including the open meeting law complaint authorization, are business items, and while part of the public meeting, are not considered a public hearing. So I just want to make that clear. We were served with a public meeting, an open meeting law complaint about a month ago, and what the rules are regarding the complaint is that we, as the public body that receives the complaint, we have to disseminate the complaint to the members of the public body. That's been done. The public body must meet to review the complaint within 14 business days. That's today. That's what we're doing tonight. It was supposed to have been done on October 7th, but we weren't able to. And after review, but within 14 business days, the public body must respond to the complaint in writing and must send the complainant a response and a description of any action the public body has taken to address the allegations in the complaint. At the same time, the body must send the Attorney General a copy of the complaint and a copy of the response. So this complaint was sent pursuant to law to the town clerk in Carver, Cara Dahill, and to the chairman of the select board, Sarah Hewins, and from them it was sent down to me, and also it was disseminated within town hall, went to the interim town administrator, and through the ITA it went to town council. So what we need to do tonight as a board, there are basically two things we need to do. The first thing we need to do is to I'm going to ask the members to briefly recount their actions on the evening of August 19th. This complaint is from August 19th when we had the first meeting on 0 Pine Street. And after the meeting was adjourned and most, if not all, of the public had left, one of the applicants came into the meeting late and came up to the room, and it is thought that there was an open meeting law violation because of that. So what I'm going to ask is that the members briefly recount their actions on the night of August 19th between the time of the adjournment and the time we actually physically left the building. And after we do that, and it has to be just very brief, after we do that, I will ask for a motion to authorize me, as chairman of the Conservation Commission, to respond to the complaint through town council. So that follows the laws of the Commonwealth of Massachusetts in regards to our role in replying to the complaint. So I will go first about what happened on August 19th. If you recall, the notice of intent for the project at 0 Pine Street was approved. However, the variance that would allow that was not approved. And in the 6 or so years or 5 or so years that I've been on this board, I'd never had that occur before. So I was kind of at a loss as to what exactly that meant. So after we adjourned, I went and spoke with the conservation agent, Brooke, and basically said, what do we do now? And Brooke's response to me was that the project had been approved, but the variance hadn't been, so it was now up to the applicant to revise plans and come back to try again. So that's basically what I did in that interim before the meeting was over, before we left the building, after the meeting was over and before we left the building. So why don't we start on the far right? Mr. Germain, could you briefly recount what your remembrance is of that evening?
When the meeting concluded, I got with Art, and we looked at the plan, and Art looked at me and said, I've never seen this happen, and I said, well, what can we do?
That's Mr. Borden?
Mr. Borden, what can we do to make this more palatable? Can you modify the plan to make less of an impact on the area? And Art's response to me was, I don't see why I can't do that. And that was the extent of that conversation. I said, good, see what you can do, and we'll go from there.
All right, and that was just a conversation between you and Mr. Borden, correct? There was nobody else involved?
No.
Okay.
Arthur and I, in fact, Arthur brought the plan back out to show it to me. Because
Okay.
he had the big oversized plan that was on the easel.
On the easel? Okay. All right, thank you. Mr. Badger?
Yes, that evening, as we were walking out of the room, at the entrance of the room, Mr. Della Priscoli confronted me and asked me what happened. And he had expressed his concern based on the things that he had done for the town and how he was very upset about how the vote went. The first thing I had said that I was sorry that he was taking it personally, but the reasons for my vote were specifically outlined in my line of questioning, and that was all recorded since I knew he had missed the hearing. And I said if he reviews the tape or the video of the meeting, that would illustrate why I voted the way I did. I actually didn't say how I voted, but I guess he surmised that at that time my vote was a no. And from there, nothing really was said on my part. I received some words, follow-on words, and then I politely left the building.
And this conversation was held between you and Mr. Della Priscoli solely? There was no one else involved?
No, just directly between him and I.
Okay, thank you very much. Mr. Nowen?
Following the adjournment, I picked up my papers, and I saw Della Priscoli coming in. I said hello to him, and nothing else. And I walked past him and out the door.
All right. Said hello and walked out the door. All right. Now, Ms. Blackwell, you were not part of this, so
present, sir.
I don't have to ask you any questions. All right. So I'm going to take these notes, and I'm going to write up a brief summary and send it to Town Council so that he can address this with your permission. So at this point, I need a motion to authorize me as chairman to respond to this complaint through Town Council.
So moved.
All right,
Second.
I need a second?
A second.
All right, it's been moved and seconded to allow me to do this. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, it's approved 4-0.
I have a question. Do I include Peg in this vote?
No,
Yes, I
she
shall
wasn't.
abstain
No,
since
she
I
wasn't.
was not
So
part she's of it. abstaining?
She wasn't a member at that
So
time.
it would be 401.
Yeah.
401.
Would have to
She's
abstain.
abstaining because she wasn't there.
Yeah, she wasn't there, right? Yeah.
Right. All right, thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay. Next up is mini grant application for the Griffith Forest Conservation Project. Brooke?
Yeah, I just want to inform you that Buzzards Bay Coalition has filed an application for a grant to purchase 2 of the Griffith parcels, one off of Lakeview and one off of Indian, which they want to put into a conservation restriction with Wildlands Trust to be preserved. So that's just basically just to inform you that they've applied for the grant.
At our next meeting, do you have a map showing exactly where these parcels are?
Yeah, and I'll give you a copy of everything they've submitted, and we can put that back on the agenda if you want to do that.
Yeah, I'd just like
Okay.
to have it as part of the packet so that
Yeah.
we all know exactly what properties are being spoken about.
Okey dokey.
All right, the third business item is the minor modification to 201A Tremont Street, SC 126-595.
Right here. These 4. Yep.
You need more?
I think
We
did
need one more, if you have it. Here you go.
You want some more?
Yeah.
I'll take a small one.
Bob Rogers is here from GAF. This is Danny Warren's site where, we had order of conditions to build a house. So this is they're asking for a minor modification to it because actually the house is being moved farther back from the pond. Anyway, I'll let you
Yes.
explain.
Hi, how are you?
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, Bob Rogers with GAF Engineering. If you want me to, just briefly, you got a couple things. So we're just making a couple of minor changes to the house. It's just a little narrower and a little longer than the home that was approved, and it's a walkout basement in the back versus a 5-foot crawl space. So one of the pieces of paper that I've given you is a red line of what you approved in the order of conditions versus what's on the plan. The result is that the deck gets pulled away from the pond by about 5 feet for the most part, at least a couple feet at the closest point. So what we're asking tonight is that these minor changes to the home are considered insignificant as far as not requiring a new public hearing, and they don't rise to the level of requesting an amended order of conditions. So it's just a few feet narrower, a few feet longer, and when we spin it so that the long side of the house faces the pond, then we can get that additional separation away from the pond. So it's really got a little bit of an environmental benefit, and but you can see we're still holding the positioning of the house right on top of where the previous one was that now has been taken out. So, in accordance with the special condition in the order, we have to come back to you and ask that this be considered not to rise to the level of requiring a new hearing.
Okay. Any comments from any of the members?
Mr. Chairman?
Yes, go ahead.
I'm sorry, did you say that the red outline is what was already approved by this committee?
That's correct.
Okay. So you're reducing the size of the house?
Well, it's a little narrower and a little bit longer, just by a few feet. So it gets closer to the cranberry bog, but further away from the pond.
But it was always going to be that close to the septic system?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, we held the northeast corner of the original home that was there.
All right.
What's the net result of the distance? Do you have that dimension in here?
Well, I think,
I see where the red line is, but.
Oh, yeah, sure.
Are we kicking back like another 3 feet, 5 feet?
Well, I think it's 5 feet for the majority of the deck, and it's maybe only 2 feet at that southwest corner.
Okay. That's all I got.
A couple feet helps.
It does. Right. Anyone else have any comments? I have one question. You say that now you're going with a walk-in basement.
Well, a walkout in the back.
A walkout.
Yes. Yeah, we had a 5-foot crawl space before, for the sake of 3 feet of concrete, so the basement floor is basically at 83, so just walking out at grade. you know, versus having, you know,
Okay.
whatever it is, 3 feet in the ground and 2 feet out, and not having a basement, and so that's, again, it's not a, I guess it's not a help or a harm to the environment, but it certainly makes for a much better home.
All right, so are you lifting the house or digging the basement deeper, or a combination of both?
Well, it's just, nope, it's just gonna be a 4-foot frost wall and the slab at grade for the basement.
Okay.
And then everything goes up, and we still stay under the height restriction by zoning.
Okay, all right, that was really the only question I had. It wasn't really a concern, just a question.
Which is new.
Hmm?
The digging down for the 4-foot frost wall is new, because it was on pylons, no?
No, it was, there was a crawl space before.
It was, yeah, it was a 5-foot crawl space.
But it had no real foundation.
Had no foundation, though.
Wasn't it just cement blocks?
Well, it would still have to, you know, be frost protected. You know, we're doing the site design. We're not the structural engineer, the foundation designer. You know, again, the footprint is very close to what it was before.
Right, but the plan we approved already had the
Yeah.
crawl space with a concrete wall.
Yeah, yes,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah, I think that was Mr. Badger's question.
So the big change is coming, you're gonna raise the house. You're not digging the hole deeper, is what you're saying. You're gonna put the 4-foot frost wall in, but then you're gonna have the slab on grade.
Great, yeah, it'll be a walkout basement underneath the first floor deck, and
So
then
the
there'll
house
be a
is going
second
up a little
floor.
bit.
Yes, sir.
That's
Okay.
Okay, we're on the right page.
That does raise another question. What are you going to have underneath the deck now that it's a walkout?
Paving stone
Paving stones?
patio. Yeah, if you tried to grow grass, I suppose it would be a struggle.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, you don't get any sun under that at all, right? No. All right, as long as it's not paved or
Oh, sure.
concrete.
Yeah, I wouldn't wanna see it concrete. I
Right,
mean,
as long as
stone or
it's,
something like
you know,
that.
pervious, yep. Okay, fine. That's the only thing that I have. Anyone else?
Nope.
All right,
Want a motion?
yes, motion to approve the amended plan for the,
Make a motion to approve the minor modification to 201A Tremont Street, SC 126595, as shown on the map, on the site plan dated, wait for it, 10/5/20, is that the correct date?
Yeah.
Should be the latest revision?
Is that the latest revision?
do I have a second?
I'll second.
All right, seconded by Mr. Nowen.
10/2/20 is the latest revision.
Okay. All right, it's been moved and seconded to approve the minor modification to SE 126595. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye? Any
Aye.
opposed? Nope, that's approved 5-0-0.
The first okey-dokey of the night.
Thank you.
Bob. An okey-dokey on that one.
All right, the next items are COC requests. Lot 2 of 6 Center Street.
Like, doing things wrong.
Brooke?
Excuse me?
COC request?
Oh, I'm sorry, okay.
2/6 Center Street.
Yep, both, the 126-330 and 126-320 are old files. One was for the septic and one was for the house on Center Street. And I did a site visit and everything is
You good?
good.
Make a motion, we approve the COC request for Lot 2-6 Center Street, DEP SE 126330, and Lot 1-6 Center Street, DEP SE 126-320.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All right, seconded by Mr. Nowen. It's been moved and seconded to approve the COC request for those two items. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, it
Do you want me to
passes.
send these down now, or do you want us to sign them at the end of the?
Why don't you send them down?
What's that?
Want me to send them down now, or do you want to sign them at the end?
Let's sign, let's get them done.
Okay.
So we can clear up this meeting first.
Yeah, okay.
Mr. Chairman, was this a 5 vote?
It was 5, yes,
Okay.
yes. Ms. Blackwell can vote on a COC because it's very old. I don't think any of us were on the
No-
board
no problem.
when they came up. So it was 5-0-0. The next one is Gilbert Estates, High Street, SE 126-370.
Okay, so 126-370 was for the way back, the original Gilbert Estates with Jack Williams, and that got appealed to DP. So it had a superseding order, but the superseding order never got recorded, so it was more or less invalid. So he needs to close out this with a COC, and then he's asking for an extension on the newest one for Gilbert Estates, the one that we just recently approved. You'll see that, that's coming up next, the extension.
Okay,
So in other words, he had to close out that old one that was really not valid anyway, because it, disappeared into DEP land and never came back.
all right.
Make a motion, we approve the COC for Gilbert Estates High Street, DEP SC 126-370.
Do I have a second?
Yep.
Second.
All right, it's been moved and seconded to approve the COC request for SC 126-370 Gilbert Estates. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, passed 5-0-0.
Alan, who seconded that?
Dan?
I did, sorry.
Okay, that's a COC.
All right, next up is an extension request for Gilbert Estates.
Yep, and that's the latest one. We've been out there a couple times for Jack Williams again, but he needs an extension because he's still, doing construction.
Okay, so
So he needs
basically we
an
just need a
extension
vote to
on that.
grant the extension.
Yep.
Is that correct? All right, I'll entertain a motion to grant the extension for Gilbert Estates.
So moved.
Second.
All right, it's been moved and seconded to grant the extension for Gilbert Estates SC 126-539. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, passes 5-0-0. All right. We can get to the minutes. After.
You could do the minutes last if you want.
Can we put the minutes off to the end, Mr. Chairman?
Yes, I think we can do that. All right, we have no new hearings. We do have continued hearings. The first continued hearing is Plymouth Street. And this is the, since it's continued, I do not have to read this all over again. It is the water main going down Plymouth Street and crossing Muddy Pond Brook. Do we have,
I think
Oh, here we go.
I think Steve's coming, yep. Let me see if I have any, I think I have small plans, actually. This, yep.
Good evening, just need a minute to get set up here.
Okay.
So here's the one for the new butters and stuff. Do you want that?
Before we even get started, do we have notice of butters getting notified? Do we have?
I need to get his green cards. Steve, do you have the green cards for this?
I do.
Yeah.
Brooke, do we have plans?
Yeah, I do. But,
These are the old
let me give you these. This is the one that shows the butters that we asked for. I think, you gave me a bunch of these, didn't you?
Yeah.
You did, yep. Oh, good, okay. Yeah. Give that, huh? Yeah, we haven't signed in yet, huh? No.
This is all we got?
Nope, it's all the
I think I
same,
got more.
okay.
Yep, give it.
These are the same.
We need 1, 2, 3, 4.
That's nice. Okay. Your encyclopedia.
It's a revised one. 605. So I got that right there. So I'm gonna look at these. Did you want to look at these?
Okay, I think we're all set.
Great. Good evening, my name is Steve Combs. I'm a professional engineer registered in the state of Massachusetts. I work for Prime Engineering located in Lakeville, Mass. My firm has been retained by the town of Carver to complete a water main extension on Plymouth Street, Hines Avenue, and Captain Perkins Drive. project is located just to the west of Muddy Pond Brook, and on Captain Perkins Drive, as well as Hines Avenue, as I previously show you. The aerial might be helpful here, so I'm just going to switch quick. So this cover sheet has an aerial of the site just showing the portion of the road where we'll be extending the water main. So the water main extension starts with the existing main stops. And that's at a hydrant just to the west of the Muddy Pond Brook crossing. I recommend looking at sheet.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
And it might be easier for us to understand you if you can feel free to take your mask off. 'cause
If you
there's
feel
nobody
comfortable.
around
If you
but it's
don't,
up
that's
to you.
fine too.
It's mine.
We don't want you keeling over from carbon dioxide.
Okay. So as I mentioned, the existing main stops just to the west of the Muddy Pond Brook, located here, and it stops at a hydrant. That's where we're going to be extending the main from. We're proposing to continue a 8-inch cement line ductile iron pipe just under 1,000 feet down Plymouth Street, adding services and curb stops along the way, along with appropriate water gate valves, thrust blocks, and hydrants. The pipe will be directionally drilled beneath the Muddy Pond Brook, and in order to do this, we'll need to transition from cement line ductile iron pipe to an HDPE pipe. So you can see this in the profile view here. Grab it at the existing hydrant. We use the directional drilling technology to go beneath the brook, back up to the other side of the brook, beneath Plymouth Street, and then continue along. And you know, there's T's up Hines Avenue, there's a T up Captain Perkins Drive. This plan set continues to go through the plan and profile of what we're proposing for the water line, staying in all the regulations of the North Carver Water District. North Carver Water District is the group that said that this is the manner of how they want this done, directional drilled under the brook, so we are complying with that as shown on this plans.
And this is a change from your original plan from a month ago.
That's correct.
You were planning to go above the brook, under the bridge, with heat, with a insulated.
A backup generator, insulated pipe. Yep. They
Okay.
preferred this way. Plans now reflect what the North Carver Water District requires.
Okay.
So up Captain Perkins Drive, it's about 500 feet of water line with hydrants as well and services. The water transitions from an 8-inch line to a 6-inch line after the last hydrant. And on Hines Ave, it's about 600 feet of water line with hydrants and services. And again, the water line will transition from a 8-inch to a 6-inch beneath Hines Ave. So this concludes my brief presentation. I'm happy to answer any questions you might have about the project or anything I might be able to do to help the board or the public, excuse me, the commission or the public. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. How deep did you say the pipe is going to be underneath the culvert at its lowest?
So when we're going underneath the culvert, right now it's shown on the plans as 5 feet beneath the bed of the stream.
Okay.
In order to do the directional drilling, we'll have to perform borings to confirm that's possible, and we'll be, that would be more on the construction end to get borings to find out more information about the subsurface. But, you know,
Are those-
5 feet cover is the minimum for a water pipe, right? Or I think they actually allow you 4.5, but 5 feet is what we're doing. And so we're showing the minimum now, but it might have to go deeper.
Okay. Are these boring holes, are they straight down, or are they directional as well?
They would be, I believe they would be straight down.
And in the location where the pipe would go, exactly? So they would be straight down through the road, adjacent to the culvert,
Where
correct?
the directional drilling would start, the entry and exit point is where they would be doing the borings.
Oh, I see. Not underneath the brook. Okay.
I am not entirely positive there'd be another one there, to be honest. So I think I would need to follow up on that. But there would be borings required to make sure that this, as I'm showing on the plans, works, or you would have to go deeper.
Okay.
Mr. Chair.
And the entry point and exit point are where your directional holes will be, correct? HDD, exit point and entry point on either side?
That's correct, and I can
Okay.
get the stationing on there.
How long do they anticipate this will take?
So we're anticipating about 2 months. The directional drilling portion actually goes pretty quickly, is my understanding. But, you know, there is almost 2,000 feet of water line that they'll be putting in, so 2
Right.
months is what is a reasonable estimate.
Mr. Chairman.
And it looks as though there was one additional abutter that you had to notify from your previous, is that correct? Michael Harriman?
Yeah, we decided to notify one additional butter from the location of that bog, and, or that fallow bog. Looked like it hasn't been used in some time, but, you know, we sent our wetland biologist out there. Brooke was able to confirm the resource areas which we're showing, and now they're shown in the colors as required by the town of Carver.
Okay.
So yes, one additional butter.
Mr. Chairman.
Yes, sir.
Are you telling me that this pipe is going in the dirt and not under the street? Is that what you alluded to when he asked you if you're gonna, when you dig your bores, you're not gonna be digging straight down from the paved street? You're gonna be digging from off the street? I'm confused as to the language.
Are you concerned about the location of the pipe or the location of the boring holes?
Both?
Okay, the pipe will be going beneath the paved street.
Okay, so how are you gonna determine from the boring holes unless you drill the holes where the pipe is going?
We'll have to cut the street open, and then we'll put a boring hole in the location.
So it'll
where
be in the
pipe's going.
street?
Yes.
That was the question, and
Yeah.
I think, Saber, you asked that, and the answer was kind of,
Well, the question that I wanted to know, and the answer wasn't available, was whether there would have to be a boring hole right through the brook, through muddy
Because the pipe's
Pond
going
Creek,
under the brook now, so he was talking
or brook.
yeah, but
The boring holes were, I was told the boring holes would be at the two entry points of the directional.
I guess what I was trying to answer there, Mr. Germain, was, sorry if that was a little misleading, I didn't mean it to be. I don't think that they would drill a boring hole through the culvert system.
Right.
If they needed one here, they would come over to the side. But the ones, in terms of the entry point and the exit point, would be in the street.
right, and it would be before the brook and after the brook in order for you to determine how far you gotta go down and get under the brook.
Yes, sir.
That was,
Yeah,
all
Okay.
right, we're on the right move here, we're good.
you're in the right hole.
All I know is I want it done. It's been a long time coming.
Yeah, true.
Yeah.
I'm surprised.
And they deserve it. For the town hall.
Probably. Nobody reads the website.
It's a pleasure, Mr. Chairman.
Well,
Nobody reads the website.
just one thing I want to point out, and there, on the parcel of Michael Silva at 163 Plymouth Street, I'm assuming that's where the old bog is? Is that correct? Yeah. Yeah, okay. All right, no, I'm good. I had no further questions. If this is a public hearing, I want to see if we have comments from any residents, any abutters, or any other residents in this, regarding this?
Do you want a motion to close the hearing?
I will entertain a motion to close the hearing at this time.
Sorry, one sec. I was just giving people a chance to come up if they were going to come up. I just, for the record, I wanted to acknowledge that I am one of the abutters. Dan Badger, 165 Plymouth Street. And
Do you have any concerns with this?
as of right now, I have no concerns with, I mean, obviously, I would prefer there be a way to do this without having to disturb the riverbed, but also, you know, some issues that lie outside of this hearing, I think will be brought up at a different time.
Well, it appears that most of the work is going to be done through the road that's already there.
Yeah, yeah.
So it's not, and it's going under the riverbed now, which is probably a little less invasive than perhaps rebuilding the bridge with a generator and a insulated pipe above the water.
I wanted to, just based on some concerns that the public may or may not have regarding water quality and so forth, as an abutter and also as a member of conservation, I am aware that we're not actually in control of the water quality as it pertains to the water pipe. That's something that would be addressed through the North Carver Water District when this project is complete.
And the Board of Health.
And the Board of Health, of course.
Correct.
Yep. So, and as an abutter, I've taken the time to talk to Board of Health already on this issue, and we'll continue to do so and monitor as an active citizen and as an abutter to this project. And I encourage any of the other abutters watching this to do the same and to do your due diligence as well. Call neighbors, ask questions, and go from there. But as it pertains to the purview of conservation, I'm actually pleased with the layout. I do appreciate the time spent in with the demarcations of the wetlands, and to make sure that those are obvious and clear to us so that we can make informed decision as a commission. So thank you.
All right.
That's it.
Motion to close the hearing?
Yeah, before we take that motion,
Again.
well, I just want to ask if there are any members of the commission who feel Mr. Badger should recuse himself because he is an abutter?
I don't think he should recuse. I think he should abstain from the vote, Mr. Chairman. He doesn't have to recuse himself.
Well, all right, abstain from the
But I
vote?
think he certainly has a right to speak and debate it, but I think ultimately if there's going to be a variance or something like that, that it would be in his best interest. And
Okay.
it's only my opinion.
All right, that's fine, that's why I asked.
And he's certainly welcome. He does not have to. It's whatever he feels. I have no doubt that he can be objective. Just, we go back to optics.
Right, okay, all right, then at this time, I'll accept the motion to close the hearing.
Motion to close the hearing.
All right, do we have a second?
Second.
All right, it's been moved in second to close the hearing on Plymouth Street, DEP 126-605. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any noes? And one abstention. All right, it's approved 4-0. 301.
Excuse me, Mr. Chairman.
Yeah,
I don't believe that Peg can vote on this. It's a continued hearing. She was not present at the last one.
Your call, Savory. I'm happy to abstain.
oh, this is the one, yeah, this is the one.
I put down Wenham, but I'm more than
Peg wasn't
happy
here
to
for any of
abstain.
these, right?
Nothing personal.
No, I realize
Please.
that, Alan. Thank you for the technicality.
I know there's
All
going
right.
to be other stuff in the background with this, that's.
All right, then we'll take another vote. All those in favor of closing the hearing, say aye.
Aye. You can vote.
And two
I shall
abstentions?
abstain.
All right, it's
No,
302.
now it's still 401, because he can vote on closing the hearing. He's just going to abstain from the vote for the variance. There's no
Okay.
problem with that. One has nothing to do with the other.
All right, so it's
There you go.
401 to close the hearing.
Yes.
And now I'll accept a motion to approve the variance.
I'd like to see us approve the NOI like we did the last time, and then we'll do a separate, if we do.
Okay, all right, so I'll accept a motion to
I'll make
approve.
a motion, we approve the NOI for DEP SE 126605 for the water line extension on Plymouth Street as presented in the plans dated 8/26/2020.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
All right, it's been moved and seconded to approve the NOI for Plymouth Street at 126-605.
Revised. Is there a revised date, does that matter?
Revised October 14th,
Revised.
I'm sorry, Mary Ann, revised October 14th.
Revised October 14th, okay. As part of the record. All right, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any noes? None? And
I shall abstain.
two abstentions. So the NOI passes 302.
Yep.
And now I will accept a motion to grant the variance for work within the 65-foot buffer zone.
I so move.
It's been moved
And
by
I'll second.
Mr. Now and seconded by Mr. Germain. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none. We have two abstentions, is that correct? All right, again, this passes 302. And we're doing, would you do me a
Thank you.
favor, please, and just sign in on the clipboard down there in the corner before you leave?
Thank you.
Thanks very much.
Thank you, Steve.
That was easy.
All right. Next up is 3/19 South Main Street, DEP SE 126-607. This is a continued hearing, but we never started it. So I'm going to read the hearing notice here. Notice is hereby given in accordance with the Massachusetts Wetlands Protection Act, MGL Chapter 131, Section 40, and the Carver Wetlands Protection Bylaw, that a public hearing will be held at 7:30 p.m. on Wednesday, September 16th, 2020, in Meeting Room 1 at the Carver Town Hall to hear the notice of intent filed by James O'Brien for the construction of a single-family dwelling and associated amenities within the 100-foot buffer zone to wetland resource area bordering vegetated wetland. In addition, a stream crossing over an intermittent stream is proposed to access the upland. The applicant is requesting a variance under Section 9-1-3 of the Carver Wetlands Protection Bylaw for the activity within the 65-foot buffer protected under the bylaw. The project is located at Lot 3/19 South Main Street, Carver, Massachusetts, map 87, Lot 2-13A. All interested parties are invited to attend. Hi.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes, sir.
It's DEP 126-607. Brooke just informed me.
Yeah.
So we have.
Yeah, I think I said that. It
Did
was
you get
on-
that? Okay.
It's on my,
Yeah, it wasn't on the agenda because we didn't have it when we, yeah. Okay.
okay, hi, how are you?
Hi, my name's Jeff Youngquist from Outback Engineering.
Hi.
I'm representing Mr. O'Brien, and basically, my tripod broke, so I can't put it on the tripod, so I'll have to sit right here.
All right, well, we have our own, so.
The proposed single-family home on the lot. The house itself is 96.9 feet away from the wetlands. It's outside the 65-foot no touch. Then there also is a centered pretty in the center of the lot, with the septic system in the front. Basically a long driveway to get back to this area. The other thing that's in here is the proposed wetland crossing. This, I think, is an old log ditch. It's with DEP guidelines. We designed it as an open box culvert, 10 feet wide, straddling the stream, getting to the other side, and then we have a cleared area here, which Mr. O'Brien wants to have farm animals, a goat, some chickens, and some other miscellaneous livestock. The variance we're requesting is to put a shed out there within the 65-foot no-touch area. That's the variance that we're requesting. The cleared area for the livestock will be, we'll leave the bigger trees for shade for the animals, and it'll be fenced in. Any questions?
There will be.
I know there will be.
I also see that it looks as though on the east side of the intermittent stream that there is also clearing within the 65 feet. Is that correct?
Yeah, well, to put a shed in there, there would be. What we're also proposing a replication area. We're going to disturb 174 square feet, and we're replicating 200 linear, 200 square feet. The shed will need some clearing. Put the shed in there.
Okay, that is the shed that's indicated on the drawing is on the
Yes.
west side of the intermittent stream. I'm saying on the east side, it looks as though there is additional clearing going on. If I'm reading this correctly, there's a fenced-in area that extends into the 65-foot
Yes,
buffer. So that's additional clearing?
We're clearing all the way into here. This area right here. Clear into here.
I'd like to be.
Yes, you would like to.
Leaving the trees or full clearing?
I can leave some trees.
All right, does any questions from the?
There's already a crossing over the stream?
No.
No, there is not.
No. We did look at this a month ago, I guess, that we were out there. Jim and Dan, I don't think you were there.
Yeah.
You were, okay. And Peg, I think you looked at it on your own?
I was there, yes.
Yeah, okay.
And we also have the ANRAD prior to that.
What type of animals? You mentioned chickens. How large are these animals we're proposing?
My wife wants one goat, and we'll have some chickens, and that's all we.
No horses or
No,
nothing that large?
no, nothing like that.
You want 2 more goats? I have 2. No, you can have them.
Oh, stop it. It's mean.
I will talk to you about
Okay.
What is,
Give away a goat.
It's this big.
Those are big goats.
They stand
I
up,
like
they're
goats.
taller than I am. 2 boys.
Anyone have questions before I go?
The house is existing? It's not.
No, houses, no.
So you want to, this deck will be within the 100, but outside the 65?
Yes, it will be.
The only question I got, proposed agricultural pasture to be loomed and seeded, and then you're going to fence that area in. That is within the 65? Outside the 65?
Outside 65,
Within the 100?
yes.
Gotcha.
and your deck will be raised on sonotubes?
Yes.
Okay. It's outside the 65 anyway, so it's good.
What was your question again, Alan?
Huh?
What was your question again?
About?
That you just asked about the
the loomed and seating,
Yeah.
it's gonna be outside the 65, but inside the 100. And we've had discussions before about fertilizer and so forth and so on being used, where they're gonna seed it and loom the area, and I assume you're gonna seed it with grass or whatever will grow to feed the animals, so.
So the only area that you're going to seed back there is outside the 65?
Yes,
Yeah, but within the 100.
within the 100.
Then what is the other fenced area going to comprise that's within the 65 feet? And where the
That's
shed
silt
is?
fence. That's the silt fence.
Oh, silt fence,
Silt
okay.
fence,
But-
yeah.
all right.
I assume you'd want to use like an organic fertilizer. That'd be my only request, if you would.
No problem.
I'm a little confused as to exactly what area you're clearing. Is it just the area outside the 65? I'm not really seeing this.
This is the area,
My question is what's happening in this area right here?
that's where we're gonna, this area right here,
Yeah, that's the silt.
Yes,
So this is wetlands.
yes, this area, within the 65 feet, between the 65 feet and the wetlands. In this area has the fence, the,
Yeah, then I would like to clear 40 feet from the wetlands to the 65 mark, within that fenced area, but leaving the mature trees that are shown within shade for the animals. So within the fenced area, I'd like to bring it down to an area of growing. So I think I've left the larger trees that are shown within the entire fenced area.
Mr. Chair, through the chair, how many trees will have to be removed that you've defined as not mature?
I just want down to the mature, I didn't count what was left.
Well, okay, just the way you had said it, just assumes that therefore, if not as defined as not mature, there's a number that will be removed, yes?
We went out there and looked at trees that are over 12 inches, 16 inches, we wanted to save, because it keeps a nice cluster and it keeps a good look.
Okay.
But the other trees would have to be removed because they graze. However, I did ask them and ask them to move everything 40 feet away from the wetlands, which is a no touch.
But no number on how many trees that is?
I don't know.
Yeah.
That's outside the 65 anyway.
Oh, that is outside the 60?
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't think he's taking any trees down inside the 65. You're not cutting any trees inside the 65, right?
Yeah, I'm gonna cut trees between the 40 and 65.
Right.
That aren't mature, just so
Okay.
that they can graze.
Oh, okay, I got you.
That's all I'm requesting.
I got you.
40-foot line indicated on the map.
Any comments, Jim?
I was wondering, this, because this 40-foot line has been brought up in conversation, I believe it should be on the map. In other words, between the 65 and the wetland line, there should be an indication of where the location of the 40-foot line.
Yeah, I scaled it to take the measurement, and what we can do is adhere to a condition that says there'll be a minimum of 40 feet. If that's.
Right, but it should be indicated on the maps.
Yeah, it should be, yeah, because look at this, the shed, which is.
It's something that we're talking about.
Yes.
Something that's going to be going into the written agreement, so therefore it should be on the map.
Yep, it should.
I can't hear
To
a
me,
damn
my
thing.
thinking.
There's your shed. Look, this all needs to be.
Can't hear it very well.
I'm gonna set a precedent.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes.
Through the chair. The proposed shed, obviously within the 65, looks like it actually might be about 30 feet out of the wetlands, but, and closer than that to that stream. Are you gonna set that on the ground, on pilings, on sonotubes, on no floor at all?
We usually have a 4x4 frame, and then plywood is on top, so it's sitting on the ground, with nothing underneath the concrete or sonotubes,
Just sitting,
just sitting.
so you could actually pick it up and move it?
Yeah.
Okay.
You could.
No
It's
power?
mostly so that you have low access,
Right.
because a lot of the chickens and stuff don't want it.
But no power, no,
No, I don't need it.
no power, no utilities, no water?
Just to store equipment, correct?
Equipment and.
Feed.
Silk fence, does he?
Couple of
Silk
units.
fence.
Microwave.
It's a sample ledger. Say silk fence.
Anyone else have any comments?
Is there, the bridge doesn't exist yet?
No, it does not. It'll be a 10-foot open-end box culvert, open bottom, so you don't dig out anything, you just dig it on either side, set it over, and then you're done. There's a detail of it on the second sheet.
Yeah, I don't have a problem.
Shed concerns me.
There should be a second sheet there.
Yeah, there is.
You look.
Oh,
There you
yeah,
go.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got you.
Okay.
Yeah, oh, it's dry.
Pretty much, yeah.
Well, it's intermittent.
Yeah. There's not a lot of flow in that ditch.
No, it's an
anyway.
old drainage ditch.
For the way it's
Yeah.
been, there's probably no flow in that ditch.
Yeah.
Right, no,
We haven't seen any.
yeah.
It's an open, it's an,
It didn't look like there was
no,
ever much in
it's
there.
an old drainage ditch, but technically,
Right, right,
it's an intermittent stream.
mm, yeah.
I'm good, Mr. Chairman.
Anybody else? Peg, Jim?
No, we're kind of just wondering the shed.
Sorry, I can't hear.
I think Jim's right, we need the 40-foot on here,
I
just for the
can-
record.
I can
That can be
return
order
a
of
plan with a
conditions, though.
40-foot,
Yeah, just so we have it in
Can
the
it be
file.
added to the
Yes.
order of conditions?
make it a condition,
Yeah,
Exactly.
make it a condition,
Can it
and
just
I'll
be added to the
bring you a
order?
plan
Yeah.
that's 40-foot.
okay,
Oh.
Okay?
okay.
All right.
Is that all right?
If everyone else is done, I have a huge problem with this.
Okay?
Everything you're doing behind the house is within 100 feet. The little yard behind the house before you get to the intermittent stream,
Okay.
and everything behind it is within 100 feet. And the Massachusetts state laws, you cannot alter that. The intermittent stream may be dry right now, but when it runs water, it runs to the south, and it connects up with the intermittent stream that feeds Sampson's Pond. I live on Sampson's Pond. We have algae blooms, we have seaweed problems, we have all sorts of issues with fertilizers and issues with nitrogen in the water to create these algae blooms. 3 years ago, we had 3 separate algae blooms that were 2 weeks in length, each of them. The root systems of all the understory that is back in this marshy land is what cleans the water before it gets to Sampson's Pond. By pulling up the smaller trees, by pulling up the understory and replacing it in some cases with loam that will be fertilized, is contrary to what we, I think, as a board, are supposed to be doing. First of all, there's so much within 65 feet that is really, shouldn't be touched at all. If you look in Massachusetts state laws about 100 feet, it says that you can't alter anything within 100 feet. They do allow for what they call vista pruning, but vista pruning is very specific in that the understory must remain. I am willing to bend a little bit, in my opinion, on anything you want to do behind the house to kind of create a yard, but as far as going across the intermittent stream and cutting trees in a wetland area for goats and chickens does not, in my opinion, make any sense. It's not what should be done in this kind of an area. There's not a single piece of property back here that is outside of the 100 feet from this wetlands. And, you know, chickens and goats, they're animals. Their waste goes into the ground, into the water, makes its way into the pond. The pond is right here. And the stream that feeds the pond next to the church is right here. So I have a big problem with everything that is done to the west of the intermittent stream. And my opinion and my vote will be not to allow that. So that's where I feel on this project. So I just wanted to let you know. You can see on the locus,
Yes.
it's so close to Sampson's Pond. We had the DEP come out a year ago to check this stream that this connects to. DEP certified that it was an intermittent stream. I've been on Sampson's Pond for over 60 years. That stream is dry now, and it's the only time I've ever seen it dry. Doesn't matter. May, August, November, it's always running. Not this, but the one it feeds into. And it just concerns me that eliminating the root structure that cleans the water before it gets to Sampson's Pond is contrary to why we're here. That's my opinion. So, all right?
Fine.
Savory, would you like to see a revision, and then perhaps they could come back with a compromise? Because I do, now that you mention it, you have an excellent point, especially with the shed and everything is there. I mean, I know it says it's going to be fenced, but the animals are still going to have to walk to the shed, and animals are animals.
Well, it's less the animals than it's removing the
I agree, the vegetation.
vegetation that cleans the water that goes into the
And
pond.
animals eat vegetation, so
Yeah.
that could be an issue too.
Well, I mean, there's a tremendous root system there now, and as we walked it, we had to climb over and through everything.
That's true, there were things to trip on, and, yeah.
And I just don't see, you know, and I just don't see allowing this for what in a sense is, hobby may not be the right word, but it's something for enjoyment. It's not a working farm. It's not agricultural. It's something that you want to do just to do. And I think the cost is too high to the environment. That's my opinion.
And it could set a
So-
precedent, which we do not wish to do.
And we've got, there are additional lots that are coming up on either side of this. This is Lot 3, there's Lot 4 and Lot 1 that are still going to be probably in front of us at some point. And again, it's a very wet area. I've lived across the street. I'm not in a butter, close. I was probably 100 feet away from being in a butter. But, you know, I've played back in these woods my entire life, and I know how wet it is. And I know that the water feeds the pond, and I know that the pond is getting dirtier and dirtier. And anything that we can do to protect the pond and the cleanliness of the water that feeds it, I think we should do. So that's my opinion.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, sir.
you know, we went to great
Needs to
lengths
go to the mic.
Yeah,
should
could you
go
go to the mic,
and
because
introduce
you can't hear you.
yourself.
We went to great lengths to preserve over 50% of the lot, and for that reason, so that we can have the enjoyment of the land, but appreciate that you do need to keep a lot for conservation, and, you know, we did that. If we can't get across the stream, you're taking out a vast amount of the lot and its use, and everything up front is on a main highway, so, you know, I hope you appreciate that we did save a vast amount, rather than just thinking we're clearing it for enjoyment or some other purpose. That's all.
All right, I appreciate that. It doesn't remove the fact that it's protected. You know, that's my opinion, again. So, does anyone else have any comments?
Well, after you make your point, Savory, I think it's well made, because, as you say, we have other lots coming up. We don't want to set a precedent where anyone that bought a lot, because when I walked it, I was surprised at how wet it was, and we're in a very dry period now, so if it's a little wet now, I can only imagine what it's gonna be if we have regular rainfall or a snowy winter.
Well, precedent is one thing, but even as a standalone, I find it too damaging to the
And you have
this
firsthand knowledge,
surrounding.
so
Yeah,
I,
it was my playground.
yeah. I respect your opinion on that greatly. I only walked it one day, so, but you know.
So, yeah. And it's changed somewhat since King Richard's Fair went in, because the parking lot for King
Oh,
Richard's is right up here.
Right.
So the dynamics are different than it was 30 years ago, 35 years ago. So, I guess if there are no more comments,
I have to disagree with you, Sabri, I'm sorry. I think that the purpose of this commission is to work as diligently as we can to preserve and conserve the area, as well as making it a win-win for the homeowner, for the taxpayer, and for the guy who's spending all the money here. He's gone to great lengths to get this out of the 65. I understand your love for the pond. I understand the intermittent stream. We had several conversations in the past about it being a perennial stream out back, and the arguments of it was perennial, and then it was proven that it was intermittent. We have the stream that runs under 58 and runs down between a piece of property that was argued that that was a constant running stream. That is also intermittent. I think that there's nothing more he can do short of get a helicopter to get over that stream. And I think he's jumped through the hoops to make that happen with the box culvert cross-section. It's not gonna restrict any flow. And for the few trees in the little bit of area he's gonna cut, everything else is gonna grow back. Last time I heard, I believe that the animals on it, it'll be a fertilizer. Maybe you can do something other than loom and seed. Maybe you can let it go back to its natural growth and let the animals eat
How about like a meadow,
naturally.
like a meadow seed mix?
Like a meadow seed type of mix or something like that.
Exactly, I was gonna say, we're not opposed to a ryegrass, meadow seed.
There's a lot of nice seed mixes that have, you know, wildflowers and, yeah,
Or
yeah,
fertilizers or anything.
yeah.
But that's just my 2 cents worth, and I think it's the job of this commission to make every applicant that comes before this commission give and take a little bit on both sides here, and we do this all the time. And I think that's I think that's our job, but that's just me.
Mr. Chairman?
yes, Mr. Now.
I think that that's missing the point, which is basically that the Conservation Commission is to protect the wetlands, okay? And we're not to facilitate development of the wetlands. We're to protect the wetlands as much as possible. And I think that allowing this activity on the, basically the west side of the intermittent stream would not be in the best interest of the wetlands.
I agree. That's why we have the Carver Wetlands Protection Bylaw, which supersedes the DEP.
To your point, Mr. Germain, yes, I do love Sampson's Pond, but it also, when the algae blooms occur, it is a danger to people, but in particular animals. And I know this is one of the 3 feeders of Sampson's Pond, other than the underground springs. This is one of the 3 streams that feeds, or the 3 wetlands that feed Sampson's Pond. And I feel that there is too much of this property that is being damaged, changed, altered, which is what Massachusetts Wetlands Protection Act says should not be allowed.
I think that's true. The
So,
Wetlands protection bylaw for a reason.
are there any other comments?
My only comment, I'm 50-50 on this thing, only in that I appreciate the culvert being protected. I have no problem with the shed. I do have some issue with where the activity will be with the animals. Does create a nitrite problem with its proximity to the intermittent stream. I'm not sure if there is a way to adjust the location or tighten up the activities. I don't know if there's enough area to tighten things up so that it is all within the 65. Even then, I wouldn't be in favor of it, but then I wouldn't have any say against it. So I don't know if this is something that's continuable.
I think that's probably what we should do.
Yeah.
We should continue this. Mr. Germain, I would, at your convenience, I think that you should take a site walk and see what's there. I think it's important that you see that. I'm not telling you to helping you dissuade you, but
Well, if we stop having these 10 o'clock sidewalks on a Wednesday, when some of us who have to work for a living work.
I understand that. But I think it's important that you take a walk back there and see what we're dealing with. It's not as though that there are just, trees with ground under it. The entire area is covered with brush, underbrush.
How big an inconvenience would it be, sir, if we continued this for a couple of weeks? When is our next, do we have a?
November.
November 4th.
So I tried to get on the agenda for the September 16th, and that was pushed to October 7th. And now we're at the 21st, I have a deadline on the PNS of the 30th. So.
Yeah.
It's taking a month and a half to get here.
Well,
And I don't know if they'll give me an extension.
the first continuance was done on your behest, not ours, September 16th. That was not.
I think it was the engineer, with all due respect.
Okay, but it wasn't us continuing it. And the October 7th, there was nothing we could do. We could have sat in the dark and talked, but, that was an act of God. There was nothing we could do. So I understand that, it's a delayed process, but we're living in different times. Things are a little crazy, and we've got to do what we got to do. But I think that continuing it is in the best interest of everybody.
Well, Mr. Chairman?
Yes, sir.
I'm sorry. If we do continue this, are you willing to modify this plan, or are you just going to leave it the way it is and let the cards fall where they may?
I mean, we've done a lot for the plan, so I'd rather just get a voting decision. If you
Yeah.
guys aren't gonna let it happen, you're not gonna let it happen.
Then
I mean, I don't wanna.
what's the purpose of a
Yeah.
continuance?
I mean,
Okay.
There's no point in continuing if it's not going to change the plan,
All right. Okay.
right? I mean,
All right, then, that being said, I guess I'll entertain a motion to close the hearing. Oh, wait, are there any residents who have to, and would like to say anything about this project? 19 South Main Street? No? Okay.
Make a motion, we close the hearing for 19 South Main Street, DEP 126-607.
Do I hear a second?
Second?
Right. It's been moved and seconded to close the hearing on 19 South Main Street. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Hearing none, 500, approved. I will accept a motion to approve the NOI.
So moved.
Do I have a second?
A second.
All right, it's been approved and seconded to approve the
Second.
NOI All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed?
No.
No.
It's defeated 1 to 4 to 0.
Let's just care of that.
So,
Thank you.
thank you. Would you do me a favor? Could you just sign in, please, so we have a record? Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Burn this in, right?
Let's continue.
Burn Road?
Yep.
You still need a number?
Oh, right there. Move down below.
Okay.
Show Joe how to use the computer.
Oh, that wasn't good.
Next up is another continued hearing of 27 Wenham Road. This is a request for an ANRAD.
They've requested another continuance on that?
And until when, do we know?
Yep, requested by them. They need a little more time to figure out what they're gonna do with the bog.
Do you want a motion?
Do we have a date?
No, not definitely.
Okay, then,
So we'll push it
yes,
till
I'll,
the
ma- yeah, I'll accept a motion to continue it indefinitely.
27 Wenham Road, ANRAD 126604.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All right, it's been moved and second to continue indefinitely 27 at Wenham Road. All those in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Hearing none. It's approved 5-0-0.
Abstain since I was not there for the first one.
What's that?
I shall abstain on Wenham since I was.
Oh, yes, I'm sorry, 4-0-1, one abstention because Peg was not here for the first one. All right,
Mr. Chairman, do you want to do the minutes from the 16th meeting, or do you want to do that at the end of the entire meeting tonight?
Probably do it at the end, don't you think?
Well, we're breaking into tonight's business. This was last week's business.
it's not,
It's up to you.
it's not outside the realm of reality to approve multiple minutes
Oh, it's absolutely correct.
in one meeting, so we can delay these until we finish with the second agenda. All right. Does anybody need a break?
No, but it would be nice if, Peg, if you'd be so kind when you're speaking. Mary Ann can't hear a thing you're saying because the mask.
Oh, well,
If you
yeah.
could put
Yeah,
the
just-
microphone
It's hard to hear
closer
anything.
you.
I shall try.
I can't hear anything.
I shall try.
Because Mary Ann's having a hard time hearing
Okay.
I can
anything.
go like this.
I can't hear anything in this room. It's like, I hate this room.
Okay.
Yeah, that's right. We don't even need a microphone.
No, I project.
All right, are we
Keeping you up?
ready to go?
I think
Are we
we are.
ready to go
I think so.
on the next one?
There's no intermission?
I asked if anyone needed a break.
Do you ready to go?
Halftime.
No intermission? Okay.
No marching band.
I know, I hate this.
All right,
Too.
the agenda for tonight's meeting, October 21st, 2020, the following items are related to tonight's meeting. First of all, business, 8 Crescent Street septic upgrade.
Oh, yes. It was a septic upgrade on Crescent Street that Kevin told me about outside the septic's outside the 65. You know how he's just supposed to notify us
Okay,
for septic upgrades? Yep, but it's good with the Board of Health.
okay, so that's just a notification, correct?
Yep.
We don't need to take a vote on that?
Yep.
Okay, very good. Next order of business is the supplemental notice of intent plan, 22 Lakeview Street, DEP 126592.
Yep, that's this here, Benny's. I only have 3 copies.
What are they trying to do?
They're just changing amending the original.
Hello,
Oh, no.
thank you.
I don't know. You gave it to me.
All right, let me see. That's the right one. I only have one. Do you need one? Thank you. Yeah, give it to those guys.
No, I did.
Oh, you gave everyone? Okay, sorry about that.
You get the
The
good.
wrong plan.
It's always good to be next to me.
Rebecca Benny, 22 Lakeview. B-E-N-N-I-E.
My name is Mark Benny. I'm here with my wife Rebecca on this topic of putting a retaining wall on Sampson's Pond on a 25-foot piece of property that we have that abuts the pond. We tried 3 years ago to have a couple of pieces of wood replaced, decided not to do it, submitted another plan a year ago, and we got, I guess, we got relayed to the scientific review of does that do any damage to the pond if we remove that wall. It was determined and read in the meeting that the mussel people wanted us to pay for the studying of the mussels in Sampson's Pond.
Do you remember that? It was natural heritage? Yeah, yeah, yeah.
We decided we didn't want to be part of something we had no idea what it was going to cost, and we decided to take a different approach. We found not an abutter of ours, but another property owner on the pond 7 lots over that had adopted an approach that bypassed the mussel issue. They built a wall behind a wall. So we hired the same engineer. We hired him in October of last year. He sent surveyors out in January. And we received this plan in September. Thank you, Brooke, for moving him along, but we waited. We weren't sure whether these commission meetings were being held. We weren't sure whether anyone was working, so we just waited. Well, we received his supplemental plan. It's significantly different than we had originally intended to do. Probably 50 times as more expensive. But if this is what it takes to get our waterfront fixed, then we hired an engineer who would solve this problem before. And we'd like to submit this as our replacement for the original permit plan.
So what we could do in this case, if you take a look at the plans, we could amend their existing, order of conditions, because it's basically in the same location. You had
Exactly the same.
Yeah, and you had order of conditions for the other wall, but then Natural Heritage came back, told you need to do the mussel study.
Yes.
So you said, okay, we don't really want to do that, so you never did anything. So this, you've got an order of conditions already, so
Yes.
we could amend it with this new plan, if that's the way you want to
That's
do it.
what we intended, to find some other way of doing it without opening us up to the exposure of, I don't know what that's gonna cost. Nobody has done any research of that species on the pond, and I didn't want to be the one who had to underwrite the cost. So, that's why we looked for another option. This one is much more than we had intended to do.
And this design is similar to Wayne Hannula's? Do you remember that one? Yep.
Same engineer designed
Same
it.
engineer, yep. He pulled the wall behind the
pulled the
original
wall
wall
back.
instead of,
Yep.
yep. So he avoided the whole,
Yep.
muscle issue, like you said.
It's the same thing. It's exactly the same. It's
The existing edge and then just drop it back.
Taking the railroad ties out.
They're not moving the wall.
Bowles and Jim.
Changing it.
Brooke, do you by any chance have the original plan with you?
I don't think I do. No, I don't. You don't have your original plan?
I didn't bring it this
Yeah.
evening.
Yeah, the original plan was, that was for you were just gonna remove the retaining wall that was right in the water, so that was the issue
What we're
with.
attempting to do is least that we could do to be able to connect our dock
Right.
to the wall. That was our goal. I thought it was replacing 2 timbers,
Mm.
okay, and I even had permission to do that without pulling a permit, but we thought that we needed to go through the process. What they said is I can't touch that wall. Okay, it's a creosote-soaked railroad tie wall that really needs to be removed. It's hollow in the center, and one of my children stepped on it, fell in the pond. That's why I want to fix this. It's dangerous. So this is what it takes to replace a 25-foot
Right.
waterfront. And my wife and I are willing to spend the resources to do that.
But the issue with Natural Heritage was the fact that it was in the water. and that's where you will be doing the work, so that
Yes.
was, right.
Currently, the
Right.
water is
No,
25 feet
it's-
from
yeah,
that wall.
right.
Okay?
I can almost walk to your house.
Well, I saw a Kubota trying
Do
to
it now,
make its way
quick.
through the water over there.
We saw that too. What, between the base of your granite wall and the revetment detail, what would that surface be? It says just here, it says existing grade. Was that,
That grade is already exists.
right, but what
Her
is,
father with a shovel dug that embankment out
Okay.
70 years ago.
all right,
So it's in about 20 feet. It is 25 feet wide, and he built a railroad tie wall around the back,
right, okay.
okay?
What is
We'll
it now?
be
Is it-
replacing all the railroad
Is
ties.
it sand, is it grass?
It's asphalt.
That was bad, that was bad.
He wheeled down wheelbarrows of asphalt to make his landing asphalt. Now, it's been covered with sand when the storms come in, but it's asphalt. We want to remove the asphalt and put in something that is, so this.
Do you have any idea what you want to put there? Because it's not indicated, is it? What you want to put there between, where you're going to take the pavement out?
Whatever under that is whatever under that.
Oh, so you're going to, whatever's natural there is what you're going to,
They have to use, I guess, crushed stone for most of what's under there. So they'll have to dig all of that up down 3 or 4 feet.
Okay.
To get the stone under everything.
right,
Now, I only have 25 feet. I'm at a 12% grade.
yeah,
I can't even get machines down there.
Ooh.
And they're talking in this plan about moving 1,000-pound rocks by hand. Okay? This is what it takes to be able to put my dock on that water.
Wow.
well,
And I know we're gonna spend an enormous amount of money to do this. So what kind of sand that's gonna be under there, that's not that important. I'll put whatever you ask me to put there.
okay.
But right now, there's asphalt. It can't be any worse than that.
No, it can't be.
I see it as a big improvement, Mr. Chairman.
And it's a better way to do the wall.
Just roll that big rock out into the water and put a buoy on it for next summer.
What was that?
I said, roll the big rock into the water and put a buoy on it to mark it for next summer.
That'd be a cheap way to do it.
The good old days, that's the reason why there's asphalt and creosote timbers, because nobody cared back in the day.
This was
Yeah.
in the 50s.
And they didn't know,
Right.
about the creosote stuff.
Yeah, that's all you can do.
So we have removed from his property 6 dumpsters of foam poles.
Of who?
Most of that within your 65 feet.
What was it?
Phone poles.
He worked for the phone company. Every phone pole that went down in Carver, it was in my yard, buried as walls. So they've all been removed. What's left now is the creosote, and I removed the creosote steps that went down to the pond, if you gave me permission to do that. But his interior wall in that space, they're all railroad ties. His front wall, railroad ties. Our suggestion is we put some kind of stone in there instead.
Sounds like an improvement.
Okay.
Ecologically, it is.
Yeah, ecologically, it's a great improvement.
Just doing Union Street,
Yes,
don't
sir.
forget another, don't put me another lawsuit.
Yeah. Well, I agree it's an improvement. I'm a little concerned about what can go into the, building up where the asphalt was, because we want to make sure things are native to the pond. We don't want to truck in sand or truck in anything that could contaminate.
They have to remove everything. There's no place to pile anything.
Right,
They only have 25 feet wide on an 8%.
No, I
grade.
understand that.
So they're going to haul everything out of here.
I understand.
Not going to be able to bring back the exact same spill he took out of here. I don't have any place on my lot.
Yeah, you just bring back Carver sand, it's gonna be the same material, so.
Well, we've told other residents on the pond to bring sand out of the pond.
But he's digging out where they're gonna get the sand from the pond. I mean, how far out can they go and drag sand back?
They probably.
Well,
They at least need to be able to put back what's being removed that's not considered hazardous, don't you think?
Yes, but if it's 4 feet deep, that's an awful lot.
Well, it's an awful lot to try to drag up out of the
Oh, I
pond.
understand that. I'm not debating
But
that.
in the steps that go down, as he tailors those to come down, there's going to be extra fill
Right.
in that.
Yeah.
Where do we store it? I can't just put it on my neighbor's lot to the left or right, and my house property is 600 feet behind it, down
Right.
to 25 foot.
Yeah.
Savory will loan you a boat, you can leave it on the boat.
I can't, I took my boat the other day. I hit a rock that I've never,
Savory's
ever
boat.
known
Hit a
about.
rock. Only Savory be out in the pond in a drought and hit a rock.
I hit
No
one the other
water in
day.
the pond.
You can't use your boat in the pond. 'cause
You
it's
pretty
too
much
dangerous
walk
to
across
use
the
it.
pond right now, can't you?
It's,
Well, I have a 50-foot dock. When the pond went down, my boat was sitting on the dock.
yeah, mine was too.
So we're talking about wetland that's not even wet.
Yeah,
Something
it's-
that I could have pulled that piece of wood off and stuck a new one in.
Yeah, it's down 24, 25 inches from middle of June.
We've been working on trying to get this corrected now for 3.5 years.
Right.
Not this attempt, the one before. We just stopped working on it.
Okay.
I think he's jumped through every hoop he can jump through.
Yeah.
Savory, to be honest with you.
Yeah,
I think this
and,
is a huge improvement.
and we approved the revised
We
Hannula
did.
plan, correct?
Yes, yeah, oh,
Yes.
yes, yep,
Because they had a pretty big
Yep.
plan beforehand.
yeah, and that, we like that a lot
Yeah,
better.
And we asked them to
Same
make some
one.
changes, and they did,
Yeah,
and,
yeah.
and this is the
Yeah,
same
this is
situation.
not, this is not obtrusive. Okay.
You ready for a motion?
I will accept a motion.
Make a motion that we approve the supplemental notice of intent for 22 Lakeview Street, DEP 126592, as presented on the plan dated, I'm working on it, September 9th, 2020.
Second.
All right, it's been moved and seconded to approve the supplemental notice of intent for 22 Lakeview Street, 126592. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none. Brooke, are there additional conditions that we want to put in? Can we put something in about trying to retain native sands
Yep,
to
I can
fill
do
in
that.
any voids between the granite wall and the revetment wall?
yeah. Yep, so this will be, this will basically amend their original order of conditions.
Yep.
Right,
And accept this plan.
Sand from my property.
I would say so.
It's in 100 feet of the pond.
Yeah. Well, yeah,
Oh, native,
Yeah, I'd
native
much
sand.
rather have you pull sand out of your own property, because that's what's in the pond.
yeah,
So if you can get sand from your own property, you don't have to go buy it.
yeah. I mean, that's fine. What we're trying,
I think that's all he said.
there was a situation a couple of years ago where a couple of truckloads of sand came in from who knows where, and we didn't know what was in the sand and whether there were animals or, any kind of flora that would have been introduced to as a non-native species into the pond. So we want to make sure that anything that touches the water is as native as to the Sampson Pond area as possible. Okay, that's really all the concern was.
And they had to remove all that sand, so you don't want to have to do that.
Well, they have to dig the asphalt and the rocks out and then replace
It's all
it.
going to be good. It's all good.
Yeah, yeah, okay. All right, I think we're all set, right?
They just have to
Yeah.
sign
We've
it.
We're
voted
good.
and approved, okay.
We're good?
All right, thanks.
Can you just sign in too?
Oh, yes, you can.
Should we
Here,
sign
take
it?
my,
Oh, you do?
I don't mean,
Up in the back.
and we would like you to sign in, please. Thank you.
Keep this to the file to be
Yes.
voted on.
So that-
All right.
So that we don't make a big thing out of it? I'll,
You're gonna make no thing out of it.
I will, yeah, because
Okay, we're,
I'll send them to DEP.
No thing out of it.
okay, moving on.
Because she keeps
Um,
asking me if you.
New hearings.
I keep saying no.
Lot 9, Indian Street. Notice is hereby given in accordance with the Massachusetts Wetlands Protection Act, MGL Chapter 131, Section 40, and the Carver Wetlands Protection Bylaw, that a public hearing will be held at 7:30 PM on Wednesday, October 21st, 2020, in, well, this says Meeting Room 1, it's actually in the school, to hear the notice of intent submitted on behalf of ADGA Realty LLC for the construction of a single-family dwelling with associated subsurface sewage disposal system, driveway, utilities, and grading. A portion of the dwelling, septic system, garage, and grading is proposed within the 100-foot buffer zone to wetland resource area isolated vegetated wetland, and tree clearing and grading is proposed within the 65-foot buffer. Work, tree clearing and grading is also proposed within the 100-foot buffer to the adjacent cranberry bog. The applicant is requesting a variance from the Carver Wetlands Protection Bylaw, Section 9.2.1.3/3 for the activities, tree clearing and grading within the 65-foot buffer protected under the bylaw. The project is located at Lot 9, Indian Street, Carver, Massachusetts, map 93, part of Lot 1. All interested parties are invited to attend. Hi. How are you?
Good.
Hello.
Matt Groshon with Outback Engineering. Here for the house lot and septic system for lot 9 Union Street.
Sir, could you speak into the microphone, please? Thank you.
Yeah, the acoustics in here are horrible.
Can you move to the other chair so the camera can see the... Yes, thank you. The proponent's looking to develop a single-family home and a septic system where several work will take place within buffer zone, both 100-foot and 65-foot buffer zone. There will be no structures within the 65-foot no-build setback.
We did do a site visit today.
Okay.
Yep.
And the wetlands
I know, I
were,
just said we did a site visit today.
Yes, we looked today.
we had the wetlands
And-
approved. We did
right,
an ANRAD.
through an ANRAD,
earlier
yeah.
this year. Had those, all the wetland lines approved.
That was gonna be the other girl that was coming to me.
Does anyone have any,
We just had a quick question on the drawing itself, so,
At
just
the bottom of the garage.
at the bottom of the garage, there are a couple lines that come out that we're trying to identify what those are.
that's elevation, I believe, the
That's just-
three lines?
That's just elevation?
They're just contour lines
Okay.
for the grading.
Well, they're much darker than the other contour lines, which is why we're kind of acting a
Right.
little goofy here, trying to figure out what's going on.
Okay, it just might have been the print.
So actually, nothing's in the 65, am I right?
Other than
No,
grading?
there's no structures, there's just gonna be some clearing and grading.
It's like the corner of that driveway just kisses the 65
Yeah, we're
line.
gonna hold it off. When we go to stake it out in the field, we'll make sure it's outside the 65.
GROSS
The septic tank is there, the well's up there.
Most of what they're talking about is tree clearing right around here.
So you're talking about just cutting some trees down,
Yeah,
Get
just to
them, like,
level
off
off
that driveway?
the yard. It's kind of a hill that slopes back, so just kind of
You guys
trying
saw
to
it
create
today,
a
so-
level slope. There's a lot of ups and downs
Hugo?
out there, too.
Yeah, there is.
I'll defer to the other members. I didn't make this site visit. Savory, what did you think?
You've got a bit of grading to do.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was trying to identify where on this one, because there's, I was out there this morning too, and there was a pretty significant depression. And I was just trying to identify where that was and, where you're grading it from to, I assume, fill that in.
We went from the street into
Yeah.
that hole, you mean, and then back up?
Is this the first one?
Yeah.
That we looked at, or the second one? that we-
Well, the house and the garage is within the 100.
No, there's, they don't show it here, but there's a huge depression somewhere.
The septic's in the 100.
There's another house lot right next to it, that we have another
Yeah,
NOI
it
on.
was
It might
okay.
be
This was the one
that
we had.
lot
That might be the
also.
one I'm thinking of, okay.
Yeah, when we walked up on this particular lot, we walked up, we walked up from this lower corner,
Oh, okay.
where it looked like the tracks had gone up for the test bores.
Oh,
for
so I'm
the-
looking at the other lot.
Yeah, this is the square one. This is the one that without the
Okay.
wetland on it. The another one is adjacent to it, to the east.
Do we read this correctly, that the 100-foot
It's gonna
goes
be
right through the house?
What?
Yes, that's what's showing.
The
I
100
didn't
foot
hear the
goes through the
question.
house.
Goes right through the
Yeah,
house?
so we need, we don't, a variance is not needed for that. Our permission is.
Seriously?
Yes, a variance is needed within 65. Our permission is needed within 100.
No, no,
It didn't used to be the case, sir.
no. No, we have the Carver Wetlands Protection Bylaw for a reason. You couldn't even put posts, to let people know that that was the 100-foot buffer. It's right in the middle of your house. Building a house on a wetland.
That precedent's
Buffer
already
zone.
been set, Peg.
I'm sorry?
That precedent's already been set. There's been
Well, I
dozens of
realize that,
houses
but we're just kind of reinforcing it. In the 100?
within the 100, sure.
Oh, yeah.
There's a ton of houses that have been built within the 100. 50% of Carver's wetlands.
Well, why don't we just put the house in the wetland?
We certainly have enough
Pretty
of
much
them.
is.
So the people develop gills.
Comes with a free boat.
Do you have any indication of what you're going to be clearing as far as a yard is concerned, particularly in the back?
Yeah, I mean, it's, we're just trying to level out the back to where the well is located.
Okay.
So we're trying to level out there. There's a large slope. We're just gonna try to grade into that slope.
All right,
And then there's, on the back side of the lot, you can see there's a 50-foot no disturb buffer that's gonna be on the lot in perpetuity. So there's gonna always be a 50-foot buffer between the back of the lot and the bog behind it.
Okay. But again, I don't know if you were here for the previous project that we ruled on. Massachusetts Wetlands Protection indicates that tree cover within 100 feet has to be maintained other than vista pruning and understory. And I know that the 100-foot goes right between right through the garage, but I'm thinking more towards the back of the house, putting into an order of conditions, Brooke, of maybe setting an arbitrary point, maybe 100 feet or 50 feet from the house, where you have to maintain forested area within the 100-foot on the southeast corner of that property.
Okay.
Maintaining it forested.
Yep.
Especially within the 65-foot. Not having that all be grass, because again, we run into the issues of fertilizers and runoff and not having the root systems to clean the water efficiently before it gets into the wetlands area. And that seems to be becoming more and more of an issue with
This would be the southeast corner.
yeah, is there,
I'd like to see nothing done inside that 65. Period. Put up the post, the markers that say this is the wetlands, and leave it alone. Let it go natural. Let the slope do what it wants to do. Never mind that it says a 50-foot wide no disturb. Of course it's no disturb. It's well within the 65.
well, he's saying that it's an additional no disturb around the entire property, even where there is no jurisdiction for us. There are certain sections I see that he's put in.
You're right. The 65 does this.
Is there,
So This has nothing to do with us. This is the 65.
Is there a possibility, and it may just be because of grading, is there the option of moving the house a little bit more to the northeast on the lot, maybe not having it so centered, moving it as you're looking at it, moving it up, the house itself, so that the garage that you use less of the garage or have less of the garage slab within the 100 feet?
I think there was some issues with the location of the house, just trying to get the driveway up that slope. And then also the location of the septic. We tried to get this thing in as far away from the wetlands as we could. It just kind of seemed like the sweet spot where it was gonna fit.
I don't see where there'd be a gain to it, Mr. Chairman. He's still gonna be within the 100.
Well, I'm thinking.
Some part of it's gonna be within the 100.
Part of it, but the less that there is within it is always better. And the garage is a slab. It's not a basement, so you're not digging. So if it could slide kind of left and towards the Lot 8 side of it, and perhaps towards the rear, just a little bit, you'd move the house into more of that little V where the 100-foot line is, and get a little bit more of the actual structure outside the 100-foot. I'm just wondering if that's something you could take a look at.
You could. I think we're gonna run into the slope on the backside with getting closer to the house. On the northern portion, it's kind of a steep slope. We don't want to run the foundation into the slope.
What do you mean steep slope? Is 2 feet, 3 feet, a drop over?
2 feet or 3 feet.
That's not a steep slope, sir.
It kind of runs uphill on this backside. If we push this house back up there, we might be getting into the slope. We can take a look at it.
I'd kind of like to see that, if it could just move a little bit, because it is, I think there's room to do it, but if it's, even if you just, I'm looking at your contour lines that kind of run due east, even if you slid it along that axis, back around 10 feet or 20 feet, the house itself would be outside of the 100 feet, and you'd only have a portion of the garage slab that was still in it?
Yeah, I mean, we're gonna be up against the side setback too, so we'll have
Well,
to see how far we can get.
Yeah, what are the setbacks? They're 30, right?
Yeah.
And you're 51 feet away, so.
51, you get 20 feet to deal with.
Right.
So it's just, it's something I would like to have investigated, just to try to move that a little bit farther away from the 100-foot, if we can.
Definitely.
Because even though a variance isn't required for that, it still falls under our purview because of the state regulations regarding a 100-foot buffer zone from wetlands. So anything that we can do, or the applicant can do to minimize the impact, I think would be helpful. So that's something I would like to see investigated. Anybody else have any comments?
I agree with you, Savory.
In addition to that, the no disturb area in the back part of the lot, I think it could be expanded.
To remain in the 65.
To remain, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I see what you're saying, but with the 65-foot is already no disturb, so that the red line supersedes the dotted line right now. I mean, we could ask him to just duplicate, or put the dotted line across the 65-foot.
It's kind of implied that it's 65.
Yeah.
So.
I see.
Right,
that,
I prefer to be proactive than reactive.
Okay.
Because it's better to there not be an oops later.
All right. Anyone else have any comments?
I don't see where 10 feet's going to make any difference at all, but I'll defer to you. I think we've gotten to where we're doing this all the time now, having them jump through hoops and move a house 5 feet to make everybody feel good.
That's our job. Our job is to protect the wetlands, and if there are options that make it better, I think it's worth investigating.
Okay.
All right?
don't agree.
I'm not saying this is a no, but I'm asking that we continue this and ask the applicant to come back and see if it can be moved somewhat to minimize the impact.
Is there a way we can put it in the order that we remove this certain way of conditions and we submit a revised plan, or do we have to have this continued?
You need a revised plan.
I would say we would have to have a revised plan.
Yes, because that's part of the permanent record.
Yeah.
Is there any other revisions that we would have to make other than relocating the house?
Close a hearing and that as a condition.
Does anybody else have any other?
You could close the hearing, and we could issue the order and put that, put that into the order.
Yeah, but if you can't get if you can't move the house
Right.
to make us
So
happy,
we're not sure if he's gonna be able to move the house.
he doesn't know that he can yet.
Oh, okay.
So,
Well, I mean, if you're talking 20 feet, I guess.
Yeah,
we're
I
still
think that would
with-
help.
With outside the building setback.
you were saying there's back slope, so there either is back slope or there isn't
Well, I
back
mean,
slope.
I guess
If
we
you
could
can move the
put a
house or you
retaining
can't.
wall if we had to.
I think we should
But it's
continue
like
this,
a-
and you should present us with a revised plan. That much I do agree with.
Yeah, I think so too.
Yeah, I think so.
I think to start locking it into order of conditions that you can't meet, then you gotta come back and file for modification. And that becomes more of a hassle, because now you're jumping through more hoops. This is what they seem to want, so.
Okay, so if we relocate the house, the rest of the work on the plan are there any issues with the rest of the work on the plan?
I don't see any other issues, me personally. Does anybody else see any other issues?
No, we can move the house,
If
I
we could
think
get the
that
house a
would-
little bit out of that 100-foot,
And if it comes
I
down,
think
maybe,
that,
maybe
I
even
think
if
that
it
as
goes
far as
down
we're
slope.
concerned, that's, I don't see us coming back with another surprise.
Okay, I just didn't want to.
No, I get it. No,
Yeah, yeah.
I totally understand that. No, I think that that's really the only thing that we would like to look at.
There's people raising their hands up there.
Oh, we do have, and is that the email that I gave you, is that for lot 9?
Yes, well, we haven't closed the hearing yet, but
Okay.
I will.
Yeah.
Well, we're not
I
gonna
do
do
have-
that.
we have a-
We're gonna-
we'll give you a chance.
We're doing
Right.
continuance.
Are we done here with us? Are there residents?
It's gonna be continued.
Yep.
We still have to listen to them, though.
Yes, I need you to come down and sign in on the clipboard that's on the stage, and I'm going to need you to do that too before you leave, sir. Okay, thank you.
We continue it for revised plan. Then there's gonna be nothing in the fourth, and there's gonna be like a ton of stuff in the fourth.
E3, 126, 610. Legally, once we close this hearing, the only thing we have to say in the file is the final plan. It's state law, so we have to have a perfect plan.
Right.
Technically, you can even throw everything out, because again, technically, it's been recorded at the registry, therefore, you don't need to say.
All right, we're going to have to keep your distance and share this microphone, if you would, and you can ask your question. Just move up to the microphone. He's 6 feet away. I think we're good.
Introduce yourself.
I certainly will. My name is Brian Schindler. I'm at 21 Indian Street. My wife Amber is with me also tonight. And the first question was, well, we thought it was in the town hall, so we're late for the one on, I guess, on 16. But I just wanted to know, you mentioned 9. Can I turn on? Is that okay? Turn on this side?
What's that?
Can I just turn on?
Yes, you
As
may.
long as you're speaking in the microphone.
Yeah.
Yeah, turn the microphone if you want, if you need to.
Sure. Yeah, I just wanted to know where you mentioned 9, the lot was number 9. Where is that? I'm at 21 Indian Street, and I'm just wondering, can you give me an idea where it is?
You're looking for the address of Lot 9? Is
Yeah,
that
there's
what
no
you're
street
asking?
address
There
yet,
is no
it's a lot
street
number.
address yet.
Right, but just give me a landmark or where it might be.
Yeah.
You can see on the locus down here.
I think I help him.
He needs to know where he lives in relation to the.
That's what he's trying to figure out. Is he in the back?
Yeah, let me see. Schindler?
Are you near a house right now?
No, there's a gravel road that's down here, an access road that goes down here to access the logs.
It goes to the box?
Yes.
Okay, so,
Way down at the
okay,
south.
right, so you're not near the one that's near us, but close. I'm just wondering, did it pass the perk test, or is that a long time ago?
Schindler, I think.
You
Gotta be.
did, because
Got notified.
in back there, there's the bogs, and,
He's one of the, he can see it, I think that's his issue. But he's still not able to see it.
oh, okay.
We didn't go back in the back properties to perk.
Oh, so that wouldn't make any difference, really, how close you were to the bogs, because the perk is towards the street?
Yeah,
Is that
that's
basically?
where the septic is going to be sited.
How big would a lot be, do you know?
This lot is a little over an acre and a half.
Will it be adjacent to that gravel road that you spoke about? I know what you're talking about.
Gravel road is down this way, so.
Okay. And do you know how many houses will be on that side of the road? Because right now, there's one, two, there's three of us that are actually on the road. I'm just wondering if this does pass, what the other side of the road will look like.
I think there's a number of, we did a Form A a long time ago, or earlier this year rather, for more house lots contract. I don't remember things.
Oh, so all the lots are all associated with you?
You will for the owner, we did the work for.
Right, yeah, okay, you were the engineering, I see. So there's four of them.
So he's not in the back.
I think, excuse me, I believe that we're allowed to put 7 lots into the area, the lottage, the acreage.
Wow, that's a lot, because there's, right across from us at 21 Indian, that's the site of an old bog, so that's gotta be wet there.
This isn't about,
And they all passed all the perk tests, all of them? Wow.
yeah, this is only
Yeah,
for
'cause
one lot so far.
That's probably, because there's nothing right across from 21 Indian, that's, again, where I live. And that's where there was a bog. I know you wouldn't, I know that. I understand, yeah.
21, didn't he? Schindler, didn't
What's that?
he? 21.
Yeah, I thought it was, folks, I thought it was conservation was all over the place. It just kind of seems kind of odd to me that there was conservation land, like between myself, I'm again 21 Indian, and my neighbor, I think that's 23. There's a large lot, and there's just going to be no building there at all. And we thought with conservation, that meant conservation.
Are you down by Alexandra Lane?
I'm past, if you're going on Indian, I'm past Alexandra.
You're past, okay.
Yeah.
So you're not near Camden. I was wondering if you was near Camden Pick. That's up farther.
Camden
Okay.
Trail.
Camden Trails is,
No.
Camden Trail's up closer to Alexandra.
Yeah, there's Alexandra, and if you're going from 58 on Indian,
Right.
Alexandra's on your right, then there's one of my neighbors, there's a guy had a long driveway, and then it kind of turns a little bit, and I'm right there, 21, and then there's a long stretch, and then I think it's 23.
the conservation land runs in a narrow corridor off of Indian Street and up into the wetlands behind it, pretty much. And it's, that's what's called
Camden Trail.
Camden Trail.
Camden Trails.
Right, yeah, Camden Trail goes
Yeah.
kind of in back of us, right.
Right, so that's the conservation property. The other side, there's no conservation property on the other side of Indian Street. That was all affiliated with the bogs.
Right, exactly, that's why I was alluding to that.
So
right
it's all
across the street.
bogs, it's not conservation land, but it's bogs, it's
Right,
wetlands.
yeah,
Yeah.
right,
Different
but
thing.
just the definition of bogs is very, very wet, is it not?
Right.
Yes.
Right, but they're not building on the bogs, they're building near the bogs, which is why they come to us. So they're building near the wetlands, but not on the wetlands.
Sir, if you look at this, as an example, this site plan that they have here, the blue indicates where wetlands are. This is probably the reservoir that's back there. This is a vegetated wetland that's along Indian Street. You, I believe, are this way. Rochester Road is this way.
There you go.
Okay? The 65-foot buffer zone, this is a no-touch zone away from the wetlands. Same is true back here. And then there's a 100-foot buffer zone that they need our permission to do work in. So our jurisdiction is only between the wetlands and the 100 feet. So their due diligence is to go in and find the wetlands, mark them, and then go to their site plan and mark the 65 and 100 foot. And it's up to us to make sure that whatever they want to do protects these wetlands. All right, so
They
it's.
can do what they wish to do, as long as they're not touching any of the wetlands.
As long as they're outside the 100 feet away from the wetlands.
100 feet from the wetland.
Yep, see these green lines? That's 100 feet. So anything, here's one. Anything in here, they can do. It's not within our jurisdiction. It doesn't mean they can do anything, but we don't have any jurisdiction over that. That would be Planning Board or Board of Health or whatever, but not us. But it's not protected land under the Wetlands Protection Act because it's outside the 100-foot buffer from where the actual wetlands themselves are.
And this is on Indian, this is the only protected.
No, there's more here. I think this gentleman,
Near us, yeah, right.
the gentleman, I believe that our next hearing is this lot that's adjacent to this, and I believe adjacent to this lot is the gravel path that you're talking about that goes back to the reservoir in the bogs. So that should give you a better idea of where the location is. But yes, there are multiple wetlands along Indian Street, and anything that wants to be done along Indian Street, they have to do a site plan for each lot that includes all of the wetlands that affect this lot. So we look at everything on a one project by project basis. So in this particular project, all we're concerned about is the 100-foot lines that are here and the 65-foot lines that are here within this rectangle, which is the property that's in question right now.
So the house is a done deal. Right now, it's just figuring where you had mentioned the actual structure is going to be.
There is enough room here for them to build a house. We've asked them to move it slightly back from the road and a little bit towards Lot 8, just to get it a little bit further away from this 100-foot line and be a little bit less impactful on the wetlands. That's all we've asked them to do. The rest of it looks fine to us.
Is there, you had mentioned that there's going to be, the hearing's going to continue for, I think, a lot 15 or 16, is that?
All we have on our docket tonight, agenda tonight, is Lot 9, which is this one, and Lot 8, which is adjacent to it, to the north. And that's next on the agenda. Okay? Okay. All right. So, we need to see a new plan, so we need to continue this, correct?
Yep.
To the 4th, is the 4th okay? It's 2 weeks from tonight. So I'll entertain a motion to continue this hearing.
So moved. Second.
All right, I've got Dan with the motion and Alan with the second. It's been moved and seconded to continue Lot 9 Indian Street, SC 126-610 till November 4th, 2020, Wednesday night. And it may be here, it may be at the town hall, depending on what else is on the agenda. But the agent will let you know.
With the vote, I think we vote to continue, right?
Yeah, but did they vote?
Did we vote?
No.
We didn't vote yet.
Oh. All right, it's been moved and seconded to continue it to the the 4th of November. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, approved 5-0. Next up, Lot 8, Indian Street. Notice is hereby given in accordance with the Massachusetts Wetlands Protection Act, MGL, Chapter 131, Section 40, and the Carver Wetlands Protection Bylaw, that a public hearing will be held at 7:45 p.m. on Wednesday, October 21st, 2020, in Meeting Room 1 at the Carver Town Hall to hear the notice of intent submitted on behalf of ADGA Realty LLC for the construction of a single-family dwelling with associated subsurface sewage disposal system, driveway, utilities, and grading. A portion of the dwelling, driveway, septic system, garage, and grading is proposed within the 65-foot and 100-foot buffer zone to wetland resource area, isolated vegetated wetland, and adjacent cranberry bog. The applicant is requesting a variance from the Carver Wetlands Protection Bylaw, Section 9.2.1.3/3, for the activities, tree clearing, grading within the 65-foot buffer protected under the bylaw. The project is located at Lot 8, Indian Street, Carver, Massachusetts, map 93, part of Lot 1. All interested parties are invited to attend.
Plans.
Oh, the thing fell off.
The whole house is in the 65?
The whole house is within the 100.
The house is outside the 65.
Oh, the 65's here and here.
Yeah, so there's a triangle.
Oh, yeah, you find a little triangle piece. Wow.
They're marked as the, it's very dull, so you don't
This
was the street. The streets right
There's no way you can restrict anybody from doing stuff.
was the good one.
squishy.
This is fairly decent.
Right. 65, you know, from this one, you run over here. It's bad. This is really, yeah.
So it goes here, oh, and then comes
The
back
house is
down.
very,
Very
edge of the
fancy.
65.
driveway is on the 65.
This is 65.
Some of this.
Look this one, what he's saying right now. 65.
Property line.
And then there's the
Septic is in
Mm.
the 65.
Look at this.
Yeah. Right.
Where's the
This is within the 100%.
Again, it's completely within that.
as well, yeah.
People. Where's the house?
Right here. This is,
That's the house?
This is a house.
Oh, come on.
you know, the deck, garage slab there.
Somewhere in here was what I thought.
Oh, then
Another case of a house being right up next to the 65-foot line. No, absolutely no respect for our request to have houses stay outside the 100-foot line.
Well, on this one.
Does your company not understand the Carver?
There's no way we could put a house and not be in the 100-foot on this one.
Oh, really?
Point came from there. Okay. Just totally.
Mr. Chairman? Now, this is a situation where I would agree with you and Jim and Peg. Even though the house is within the 100 and barely outside the 65 by some extremely fancy footwork, the driveway is not, half the septic is not, and there's no way the future owners of this property can not use the area within the 65 for their swing sets and playgrounds and lawnmowers. So this is just this is shoehorned in such a way that there's no way we're going to be able to condition activity going on within the 65.
Thank you.
In my estimation. The other house that you're asking to move 10 feet is a different situation because the driveway and everything else is outside of that 65. But this, half this project is in the 65. So to what extent do we continue to bend it to make things work? That's just my opinion. This is, that's off to the engineer.
No disturb easement.
But that's okay, that's outside that.
You'll never get
Any,
the full
any
no disturb.
other comments from?
They could do it to be mostly outside the 100.
Just so there isn't a wondering of why votes go one way or the other, there's quite a bit of activity going on well within the 65 foot buffer. And
So you say move it back?
you know, I'll just defer to the town bylaws as to
You know,
why.
we're trying to minimize as much disturbance as we can. There's just
Oh.
only so much you can get, there's only one way to get in there. and-
No, absolutely, but it's, you know, it's sort of the same.
A gravel drive instead of an asphalt
I know, but it's
drive.
sort of the same discussion of when you have to amputate an arm, it's like, well, we had to amputate up to the part that was all rotted. I was like, you're still amputating. So it's, you know, not to sound morbid
Well,
or
it's the
to
truth.
illustrate my point, but that's, you know, unfortunately, there's a
Doesn't work.
kind of a no-play zone where this whole project is.
How do you put a septic in the 65?
Look at this thing's way over here.
Jim, Begg, any comments?
Well, I think that the house ought to be moved back about 50 feet.
It can't
Well, you've
be.
got another 65 foot behind it.
Yeah,
It can't be.
Yeah, right.
it's,
The
I don't
house can't
know.
go anywhere.
No.
no, it's,
Well, it would be closer, it would be more within the 100 foot.
but look at this.
Yeah, but the driveway's still coming right through within the 65.
Yeah, this is,
And the septic system's still
Yeah.
half in the 65.
yeah.
I mean, you might as well just tell them to fill in the bog and put the house there. And that's not what I'm saying, but at what point do we, I don't mind bending a little bit to accommodate a homeowner that's trying to do something, but this is like threading a needle. And
Well, push the gravel road more closer to the property line, bring it more south, get it as much out of the 65-foot no disturb buffer, try to cram it right up against the property line as much as we can.
Yeah, but how much do you need?
it'd be better than it is now. I don't know, you can pull it off, but it looks like you might make it.
30 feet.
That'd at least take the entire, provided you can get the curb cut that close to the edge of the property line, but
Look on the 65, yeah.
it would get you out of the 65 for that whole driveway.
How many feet do you have to be off the property line?
The driveway
Yeah, but then what are they gonna do? They got their septic.
Does the driveway have a setback from
Don't
like the
think so.
property line?
So, I
I don't
I'd
think
have
it
to
does
double check,
either.
but I don't believe so.
I don't
Yeah.
think
Yeah,
it
put a garage on
does.
top of
Maybe
the
we'd keep it a
septic,
couple
though, 'cause
feet
the
off
way
the
to
Right.
property line just for maintenance, but
Right.
And what can you do with that septic system to get it out of the 65?
Is there a way to adjust the orientation of it?
not really, because we need the reserve also there too.
Yeah, but
Right.
I thought they were afraid that the cement could crack with enough pressure.
Yeah, we could put the septic out there, but then the reserve would be in the 65.
See, this is the line. They don't own this.
I was wondering if you could
Yeah,
change the orientation.
kitty corner it,
somehow.
but you get more of it out of the 65.
But you should, we'd still be showing the reserve in the 65
Right.
if that's
Well,
going
I'm
to be an
glad to hear
issue.
that. You didn't want to go down to the 25.
Pardon me?
You didn't want to build within the 25 foot?
No, I mean,
Oh, okay.
that's when we did the perk, that's where we perked and found
But you
You're
could-
just trying
you
to
could
cram
leave
too many
the-
houses in a wetland area.
Pretty much.
Yes.
I'd be okay with the tank,
It's not a wetland.
if you could turn this and get as much of this out of the 65 and move this driveway completely out of the 65.
Any other comments?
I think it's important, whatever we do decide, that there are, this is one of a few places along this same topography that we'll be addressing down the road as well. So I just encourage us all to be consistent as to whatever we do decide.
Yeah,
But this is extreme.
it is. Any other comments from?
Yeah, we're not impressed.
All right, okay. When I went out there today with the site walk this morning and I looked at the plans, my first impression was that this lot is not buildable. And there's nothing really here that tells me different. It's just too damaging. The only thing that I can think of to try to eliminate some of the issues is to make the house smaller, flip it 90 degrees, tuck it right up against the in that little triangle of the 100-foot, tuck it right up against the, as close as you can to the property line to Lot 9. And then, I don't know, maybe have an underneath garage. Get rid of the garage, keep as much of the house as you can outside the 100 feet, and run the driveway outside the 65, making sure it's all gravel out to the road. That would be my suggestion, because what Alan said at the very beginning is that when we do anything within a 65-foot, when we have a 65-foot wetlands, we have conservation placards that we put, that we ask the property owners to put, delineating where the 65-foot wetlands and the no-touch zone is. And right now, that would be probably right at their front door. In this particular case, my feeling is that this obviously has to be continued. The septic is a huge issue. The driveway, I know you can move. I'd tuck it as close as you can to the property line. I would flip the house 90 and get rid of the garage and tuck it in that triangle of the 100-foot. And
maintain your setbacks and come back, yeah.
Well, I mean, some of the house would be in the 100-foot. I mean, there's no way to avoid it. And
but not nearly as much. If you took the footprint,
try to get it out as in that triangle as much as we can.
Yeah, if you took the footprint of the house without the garage and flipped it 90 and tucked it into the corner where the back corner of the garage is now, you would probably get that almost entirely within the 100, outside the 100-foot. And that would allow you to have room around the house for a lawn and an area for, playground, whoever the owner is, without jeopardizing the 65-foot no-touch zone. Because within that 65-foot, after your construction is done, that has to go back to nature. And right now, the house is touching that corner, or the corner of the house is touching the 65-foot. So right outside that door or window, whatever on that corner, is going to have to go back to forest.
This is crazy. This is tight.
So that's my suggestion, to make this work. But the way it is right now, I don't know what you're going to do about the septic.
I'd continue this.
All right.
I'm in favor of that, Mr. Chairman, and I'd like to see them come back with a revision that will work. They know what our concerns are.
Yeah.
They know what our concerns are for the previous lot, so I'm not trying to send you back to the drawing board.
No, I understand.
Yeah.
This is squeezing too much. It's only my opinion. This is squeezing way too much in a just too small an area. And Savory's right. When you get all done, and you're showing these prospective buyers their brand-new home, you're telling them that they can't really step out their front door because they're in the wetlands. So
a protected area.
They effectively have no yard. As much as they'll have space to stare at, they effectively have no place to go. Even if you backed it up a little bit more and left the garage attached to it, you could still get more of it away from that 65 line. So I'd like to see you try to do a little tweaking on this one.
Okay.
But just that's only my opinion.
Yeah, again,
And I'm the easiest guy on the board.
So I understand, I appreciate
When I'm the one who's saying,
Yes.
I like to see you tweak a little bit, it's because this is, in my estimation, outrageous, and that takes a lot for me to get to that place.
Okay, I appreciate that.
And we have to, as a board, we try to work with applicants and builders, but there's always that incremental step that this guy got this one, so the next guy goes a little further, and so forth and so on. And that's what we try to avoid. I think your Lot 9, by simply moving the house a little bit, if you can, is a great solution and makes everything fine. This is, there's an awful lot here that is wrong and goes against what we're in place to protect. So, That's what I'd like
We'll
to.
take a second look at it and come
Great.
back with something else.
All right, so I will accept a motion to continue this. Is November 4th okay? Can you get it done by then? 2 weeks?
Motion to continue NOI DEP SE 126609 for Lot 8 Indian Street pending a revision on the plans.
Second.
All right.
For November 4th.
Want to do the, can you do the
It's
4th?
been moved in second to continue Lot 8 Indian Street, 126609 to Wednesday, November 4th. All those in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Hearing none, approved 500.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right.
Savory says he wants a motion, I get right on it.
Moving on.
Let's see how fast.
State order.
Okay,
What's it?
Lot 14 Church Street.
No, we don't
Is
know.
there a DEP number yet?
No, not yet.
Not yet? All right.
Give me that, damn it.
So, notice is hereby given in accordance with the Massachusetts Wetlands Protection Act, MGL, Chapter 131, Section 40, and the Carver Wetlands Protection Bylaw, that a public hearing will be held at 8:00 p.m. on Wednesday, October 21st, 2020, in Meeting Room 1 at the Carver Town Hall, High School, to hear the notice of intent submitted by the applicant, Matt Farquharson, for the proposed completion of site grading and construction activities within the 100-foot buffer to an isolated vegetated wetland protected under the bylaw. The project is located on Church Street, Carver, Massachusetts, map 8, lot 14. All interested parties are invited to
This
attend.
one shouldn't be a big deal, but
Hi,
it's probably going to be.
how are you?
Good.
It shouldn't be because
Stephen Schmiedel here on behalf of the applicant, Matt Farquharson. Mr. Farquharson, as you said, has submitted a notice of intent under the town wetland protection bylaw for site clearing and construction of a single-family home. I do have some extra copies of the plans.
I think we're good.
I think we're okay.
Yeah, we can share.
Do you have enough?
We're sharing, I got crayons, we're all good.
Okay. As I said, the application's has been submitted under the bylaw for construction of a single-family home, as well as some site clearing to facilitate the process. The site's located on the north side of Church Street, south of Lakeview Ave.
Yeah, we did a site visit today.
Site consists of a 3.5-acre site, some of which is forested, some is open land. The isolated vegetated wetland is actually located off-property to the west of the development. There are no NHESP areas associated with the property, no certified or potential vernal pools, and no portion of the site's within the 100-year floodplain. The applicant is proposing to establish site work outside of the 65-foot no activity. The sequence essentially will involve the installation of erosion controls to serve as a limit of work east of the 65-foot no activity zone, excavation, site grading, construction of the home, and then restoration of the workspace and revegetation of disturbed locations. Again, no work in the 65-foot. That area will be maintained as natural, and the erosion controls would stay in place until the project is completed.
Okay.
Okay.
So here, Mr. Chairman, so here comes the obvious question. And I'm gonna jump on it before Savory and
Based
Jim
on the
and
last two,
Peg.
I already know what's coming.
Yeah, he's probably
We
not
all
sorry.
know what I'm gonna ask you.
Placement of the house is essentially been dictated by some very large erratics, some boulders, some surface, and some
I was about to ask you where that big
We saw
boulder
that
was.
today. We weren't sure that where that was in relation to the house, yep.
When we initially discussed the project, I encouraged to keep everything out of the buffer zone, both to ease the permitting process and to, maintain compliance. But due to the location, he has experimented with a couple of pieces of equipment to see if any of those could be budged, and it is not feasible.
You should have seen him, Alan.
We have no rocks in Carver except the ones that are too big to move, and that's why they're still
Unless
there.
just the
Alan's got
ones
a
that the
big truck.
glaciers drop.
No, it's not.
You could bring your truck.
It's not big enough.
But essentially, we would be looking at blasting to
Yeah.
So,
get rid of that.
what you're telling me is that the house needs to be here because of the
Yeah.
soil conditions, because of the rocks.
The rocks, yeah.
So,
We saw the one rock that was,
saw that
that you
rock.
dug around. Where's the
The
other
answer
one?
makes me very happy, Mr. Chairman.
other
I'm
ones?
content with that answer.
The rock is approximately right near the W on Wood Deck, which is at
Nice.
the rear of the development. And then there's a few
huge
on
rock is
the
there.
east side as well.
On which side?
On the east side of the property as well.
The east side, where the gravel driveway is.
Yeah, where the, yep.
So, I mean, you could bring that up, but then you don't know what else is there.
Are they above ground or are they buried?
One is above and some are below.
You can actually see some of the rock sticking out.
North arrow.
Yeah.
that I haven't
Okay.
really messed with yet.
And are they on the east side of where you've indicated your driveway to go? Or,
I believe the one that's exposed is on the north side, near where it says the W that identifies the wood deck.
right, that one I got.
And then there's some additional ones along the east side, but none, I think, in the immediate vicinity of the driveway itself.
Until you
Well, I
find
think
one in
that
the center
Alan's,
where the houses
Alan's
go.
question, and mine would have been, is, it looks as though the house is about, at its farthest, is about 15 feet into the 100-foot.
Right, the closest structure would be 85 feet from the
Right,
wetlands.
oh yeah, I see, there's the mark, okay. So I was right, 15 feet.
I have no,
Can,
If we could move it 15, we would have, just to
That
eliminate this
east?
step. But it's not looking that it would be feasible.
and that's because of
once
that
the
one big rock?
Well, once the excavation starts, there may be another go-around if they can't do the foundation construction where it's proposed. So this is the best-case scenario at this time.
I sympathize, because our house is actually, some of our house, we set it on top of the rock that we couldn't move, so. That was 30 years ago, but there was
It's
just
still
some
there.
huge rock there, and they do what they always did back then. They just poured the foundation right on top of the rock, and they made the corner and kept going, so, you know.
Yeah, my house had to move.
I'm happy with his answer, Mr. Chairman, I have no problem.
My house had to move because of a rock as well, when it was built in 90.
Yeah. He's gonna do it. It's too big a lot. They're gonna do it.
I just want to say that your map, your plan is so much easier to read and more than some of the other ones we've looked at tonight.
I know, that is a nice plan.
Thank you very
It
much.
is.
Very nice
I'm
plan.
not going to take credit for it. That's ABT Associates. But Carl and I, we've been working together a long time, so.
We like nice, easy plans.
Follow the checklist, you can
Yes.
complete a plan, yeah.
It's not that they're nice and easy to read, it's that the more information we have and the easier it is to access, the
Sure.
less we'll have questions on. So we try to make it easy for everybody. We've got plans that come through here that were written on a napkin, and sometimes it's pretty hard to
And
understand.
they're too busy sometimes, you know how they put too much
Wicked
stuff
busy.
on
Gives
there.
you a slow yes instead of a quick
Located
no.
in a tree.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Is it a full basement?
Yes.
you hope.
You hope.
Might have a rock in the,
Yeah.
Might have a rocket and build that into the bar, it'll look nice.
Yeah.
well, the crown of the property is in the north, heading back towards the pond, Sampson Pond.
Yeah.
To move it back would also require the clearing of some mature
Yeah.
white pine oak forest, so, I mean, it's not I don't know, the 15-foot versus, cutting down 40 to 60-year-old trees. I'm not sure which is better for the greater watershed.
I got no issue with this.
I think they've done the best they can with what they got.
So if you discover there are rocks in the basement, you would have to redo the plan and come back.
That's right.
Okay. All right.
Make a motion to close the hearing, Mr. Chairman?
Let's see if anyone else have any comments. Peg,
They've done
Jim?
the best they
Nobody
can
else
with
in the room.
what you have for information right now.
All right, I mean, this is not that intrusive. It's up high, higher than so there's not going to be water going into the house. I think that's good.
Yes or no?
He's pretty much 80 feet away.
The wells there, okay.
Yeah?
That's
It's outside us.
Yep, gravel driveway.
All right, Alan. Go ahead, you want to make
Motion to close the hearing for 14, Lot 14, Church Street, DEP, NOI, DEP 126, to be determined. We don't have a number yet.
Right, so we can close the
So we
hearing,
can
but
close it.
wait to issue the order.
And then wait to issue the order until we get
When you
a
get file number.
DEP number.
Second.
All right, it's been moved and seconded to close the hearing for Lot 14 Church Street. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none. Approved 500.
I would make a motion that we approve the plan for Lot 14 Church Street, NOI DEP 126 to be determined, and that we hold off until we issue that order, until we get that, the official DEP number. As drawn on the plan dated 10/2/2020 is the revision date.
Second.
With conditions set forth.
With
With conditions.
conditions,
Erosion
which,
controls,
yeah.
yep.
Okay.
Yep.
All right, do we have a
The
second?
normal conditions.
Second?
All right, got a second, moved and second to,
May I ask what the typical conditions are?
You
Yeah,
got
did you want-
$2,500 apiece. They're small plaques. You have to buy 30 of them from the town,
And you write the check to me.
and you've got to make it out to Brooke.
Do we want post a couple of plaques? maybe?
well,
They
the,
got room down here,
On the
maybe
65?
yeah,
Maybe
yeah, we have
two.
posts
Would that
that
be
go
all right?
on the 65-foot zone that just say, that indicated, they're like
Says
little
keep out, skull and
badges
crossbones.
almost on a 4x4 pressure-treated
You probably
post
see them, Steve, they're the little,
Yeah.
yeah, no disturb, yeah.
that just say this is a protected area, so that people know. And that would be, you know, that you as the homeowner would know that couldn't become lawn or a playground. That has to remain untouched, basically. And other than that, just regular erosion
Yeah.
controls,
Just your
things like
normal
that.
erosion controls.
Nothing
Yeah,
out of the
nothing-
ordinary.
Best practice,
Nothing unusual.
whether you want to do a silt sock or, you
Yeah.
know, hay bales.
You could probably do silt sock there.
Right.
That's it.
All right, so it's been moved and seconded to approve the plan contingent upon, or not contingent, but, give the order when the DEP number comes in. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none,
Awesome.
we're good.
Thank you.
Thank you.
5-0.
Matthew, are you related to Jerry?
See how easy that was?
Hey, Steve.
Well, he called me, he's not
We're
related.
all that time.
No, but
Good things
Considering
coming
what
down the way.
the prior to,
Yeah, we
it's
said
like,
you
oh
and
my God. So I could think it was, anyway, I'm glad to have.
Nice job.
Well, so I'll have you guys sign this anyway, and then
Thank
we'll
you.
just wait this.
I'm not signing anything until we have an official number.
It's a good thing.
All right,
We'll sign the next one.
DEP turns it down.
Oh, it won't. It's not even a DEP wetland. you know.
moving on.
You Nick, what are you saving?
No continuance.
Cape Way Cannabis has continued, asked for continuance. Do we have a date on that?
To November 4th.
Awesome.
Through November 4th?
Yep.
All right, the last order of business is to approve the minutes
So moved.
from,
So are we signing this? You want to sign this? Or do you want to wait for them?
You want to sign this tonight, or you want to wait?
You
I
can sign
suppose
the
we
order
can all
tonight.
sign it. She can
We'll
hang
sign
on
the
to it,
order.
right?
You can sign the order, and then we just won't send it out or anything. Won't have to issue it.
Make sure now.
I promise.
Get us all in trouble.
Oh, I might be able.
We have enough trouble.
What I feel like. I'll probably get sued again. I'll just get it. The sheriff showed up this morning, you know, for that summon.
And then when they
Still
come
on
next
TV.
time, we'll have.
Oops.
These
I heard.
to be revised. My notes will say this needs to be-
Did Rick see that?
I've got a copy.
all right, I'll entertain a motion on the minutes
Motion to
from,
accept the minutes as printed for, what date? The
What's that,
16th.
The 16th of September, as written.
do I have a second?
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the minutes as written for September 16th, 2020. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none. It's approved unanimously.
Motion to
Is
adjourn.
Peg at that meeting? On the
Uh,
16th?
No, you weren't, no, Ted wasn't here. So Ted didn't.
No, she didn't approve the minutes.
Motion to adjourn, do I have a second? Second. It's been moved and seconded to adjourn. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Can't hear anybody?
Who made the motion to adjourn?
I did.
Alan and Dan seconded, so we are adjourned.